Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. We're here. We're almost on time. Of course, it was the, the X on the iPad that slowed us down. X on the Samsung tablet that slowed us down again, as usual. However, we're here, and I've got stuff to talk about in the notebook. Let's see what we've got first. And let's see if we get distracted on the way, because there's always stuff happening. Let's click on a new tab, I suppose. Let's see what happens. Oh, got sailors. We got mysterious free AI model. Oh, it's the Ox one. Okay. Corporate America suddenly decided to stop blowing money on AI. Sure they did. The 1,000-year disk that failed. The weird history of the M disk. They still sell the M disk, but it's not the same thing. The new ones. You can still get the old ones too if you're really resourceful. They're claiming they know how Musk is combining all the companies. Oh, that's from a reputable YouTuber. I could trust that. CEO of the top-rated hiring platform says the job market is so bad that candidates are paying $20 to mass apply. Well, sounds like a failure on your part. Not you, the people, but you, the CEO of whoever. Garfield makes honest admission about leaving Hollywood. United's next decision: what to do with all those Boeing 737 MAX 10 seats that it ordered years ago. That's a good question. Flock surveillance cameras face backlash in Silicon Valley, as they should. It's not just that they are recording everything and making graphs of everything, it's that their security sucks. And you can get ripped out of your vehicle at gunpoint for stealing your own car when it was somebody's stolen motorcycle halfway across the country, just because they happen to share a few characters of the license plate. Or you can be sitting in your home and some bumbling example of a cop accuses you of port piracy when you've been home the whole time and your car has been parked under another flock camera the whole time. Sprouts recalled after 55 illnesses in 15 states. It's not quite our jam, but we do some self-sufficiency of growing our own food here, so we'll look and see about what this green eating has done to us here. Marvel star says she's now functioning at a decreased capacity following a TBI. That is very unfortunate. A woman renovating a home cuts a hole in the wall and then sees what someone covered up. Interesting. The actual reason your wall outlet is upside down, to put the ground on the top. I will click into that one just because it's electricity, and some of us have upside down wall outlets, right? And more politics stuff. And Musk issues a new warning to Delta over Starlink decision. Do we want to get into that one? We will look at it, but we won't put any stock in it. And a cargo ship lost 28,000 toys in one storm. Then scientists realized something was very blah, blah, blah. Oh, the rubber ducky container. That's cool. More politics, which we'll ignore. Except for that one. I'll look at that one later myself. And, all right, we got Highlander in the house, live on Apple, 10 by 10 on YouTube audio and video. And then we got Lee Moon saying hello, Kacey. Hello, Highlander. Highlander saying hello, Lee. And I'm going to do the echoey thing with the audio sample for myself. So stand by so that I find where I put the mouse. There it is. And we're going to unmute. Hey, they've changed my controls again. That doesn't sound bad. All right, so we're going to keep on rolling. And Lee is asking if everybody's doing well. And everybody here is doing all right. I was watching a video from YouTuber Travis, and he was referencing YouTuber Quinn Nelson, and they got me taking a reassumption of my cellular plans, and I was surprised what was out there as an option. I haven't done anything with it yet because we ran out of time, but I've got the search pulled up, I found a couple things that look pretty cool, and depending on the fine print and the combination of perks and everything, we will probably be making a jump ourselves, because they were complaining, oh, you got to pay $300 to switch for the whole year. It's like, excuse me, $300 one time and done? That sounds appealing. Versus, whatever they're charging. So I got to make sure that whatever the benefits and perks and stuff that ride along with cancel and sway each other out. Certain lifetime discounts that are for the life of the account are accounted for, because once you close the account, it's gone. The One-Eyed Pirate. Howdy, howdy. I think I know who that is. All right, so let's pull up the notebook and see. Well, do we want to start with the notebook? I got all the sidetracks already to start with. Let's start with them. Sprouts recall. Let's get the screen share on, I guess. Share screen. Beach ball. Spin, 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 spin. Hey, did you know that sharing your screen is going to let people see what's on your screen? Be careful. People can see your screen. I wonder what this button does. All right, let's move you guys way up in the corner and move them way down in the corner. I like that you can just grab anywhere and it just, yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so sprouts have been recalled after 55 illnesses reported in 15 states. Yeah, that's right. So be careful. We're doing a live chat on X. Yes, it's on now. I don't know if they published it or not, but I also don't know if they've got me on that stupid delay, as if I was gonna start doing some, like, I don't know, OnlyFans or just streaming stuff that even Mecha Hitler wouldn't say. But I'm sure that's not what they're doing, but it's how it feels. It's like, you got me on a 2-minute delay, my dude. Why? What have I done? All I do is talk about nerd stuff. There we go. So Lil says, hey, Highlander. All right, so the sprouts have been recalled after 55 illnesses. Is this another case of either animals or humans defecating in the greens? Let's find out. Inside Disney's World Builders. Interesting. Affected products include everything sprouts, from Calco alfalfa sprouts, crunchy protein sprout mix, and zesty garlic mix. Specific lot numbers 222, 223, 225, 226, and 230. Outbreaks go. 55 reported illnesses across 15 states, with 4 hospitalizations linked to the Shiga toxin-producing E. coli, STEC, and Salmonella. Consumer advice is: do not eat recalled products. Dispose immediately and sanitize surfaces and containers. Seek medical attention if experiencing severe stomach cramps, diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, or fever, especially bloody diarrhea. So, let's find out what farm did this one. Continue reading. Looking at Everything Sprouts LLC. So it's not the same farm as last time that we know of. Began May 31st and August 8th. You're telling us now on August 23rd? Good gracious. No deaths reported as of August 21st. The investigation remains ongoing. Consumers are being urged not to eat the affected products, but instead to throw them away and carefully clean and sanitize. I don't just want to throw it away. I want you to give me new sprouts or give me my money back. Zesty garlic alfalfa. Oh, I've seen these. I used to, when I worked at the grocery store, I'd sell these. Maybe not these exact ones, but that looks so familiar that it's got to be either them or one of their predecessor brands. According to the recall notice, affected products include 5-ounce containers of Everything Sprouts and Calco branded alfalfa sprouts. They just said, oh, that was in the summary. That's why. The company said it distributed the products between May 27th and August 21st to wholesalers and grocery stores in Minnesota and Wisconsin. We've got a contingent out there in Minnesota and Wisconsin. We did some of your guys' green car events there a couple times. That was fun. According to the FDA, 15 states have reported illnesses. That's going to be some of you guys listening that are stateside. Florida, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Michigan. All right, Michigan right there. Minnesota, New Hampshire, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, South Dakota. You got me wherever I go, don't you? Washington, Wisconsin. Evidence is from the CDC. 46 people have been infected, and 2 with both of them. Yikes. Out of the 34 patients that were interviewed, 76% said they'd eaten alfalfa sprouts in the weeks before coming ill. And the FDA confirmed that the epidemiological evidence, which is gathered by public health investigations, indicates that alfalfa sprouts distributed by Everything Sprouts could be contaminated and may be making people sick. So again, throw it away so you don't have these awful symptoms. And this last one is particularly important because pump medical device as soon as possible. Yeah, if you start bleeding from places, you don't want that. mRNA cancer vaccine clears phase 3 in melanoma. That one sounds interesting. I haven't read up on it, so I don't know. Dryer vent cleaning guide every homeowner needs. Yeah, if you have a dryer vent, you want to keep it clean so you don't burn your house down. I went the other way and got a dryer without a vent. So we have a all-in-one heat pump dryer. So it's a washer, and then it immediately switches over to heat pumping. And then when you get back from wherever you were, when you pushed go and then dipped on out, now you come back to clean clothes. People are like, oh, it takes 3 hours to run, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but if it only takes 30 minutes to run or an hour to run, and then I had to leave it sit and sour for all day, and then I got to wash it again, then who cares that this one took 3 hours for the whole thing, and I didn't have to, do the transfer. The bad part is mine is one of the first gen of the new heat pump washer dryer combo things, and the lint mitigation was not as thorough as they thought it was, and so I would say don't get my exact unit. I'd say get a newer one, and so when this one is finally done, we will do that. But man, the power savings. Whatever. They're talking about what does it matter what side you sleep on? Yeah, don't sleep on your face. Next up, we've got this one. Like I said, is probably just because they wanted the ground up, or because code calls for it. Because like in what's the Chicago area, your plugs have to be sideways. So let's see. Switch controlled outlets. Flipping the outlet with the grounding prong on top serves as a visual cue to indicate it's controlled by the wall switch. Oh, that's clever. I've never seen it done that way. Helping electricians and residents identify it quickly. In fact, that should be a standard. Make it different than the others. Or different color, make it flip it upside down. This switch is controlled by the wall. I like that. Safety in hospitals. Upside down outlets reduce electrical hazards. If a metal object falls on a partially exposed plug, the grounding pin. That one is nominally true, but somebody was doing some experiments to prove how hard it is to get something in that little space. So it's like extra insurance, I guess. No universal standard. NEC does not mandate an orientation. The typical setup has a grounding prong on the bottom, but upside down installation is a practical, intentional choice. On low voltage 120, the minute you go to 220 or high amps, you usually will see the grounding pin on top, like with the 1450 and 1430 and others. The 650 grounding pin is typically on top. And there, even if it still is again hard to get something there, they tend to be more common to have a metal faceplates, as well as again, it may be hard to get things that are not the faceplate to land on the pins, but every little bit helps. So there, we solved all that without them. Moving on. This one I think is politics. Nope, it's not politics. This one's Elon, and I don't usually get into him exactly, but it was on the screen. So let's see what we got in here. Elon Musk issues new warning over Delta over Starlink decision. Starlink versus Delta chose Amazon's Leo. Oh, a wonderful choice. You got one that's out now and one that's not out yet. Citing branding and portal control issues. Really? That's the issue? This one seems theoretical until Amazon Leo is ready. Branding and portal control issues. Musk criticized this, emphasizing that Starlink Wi-Fi must work effortlessly like the home internet. Yeah. Oh, I see. I get it now. So Leo might have promised them that they get to do their stupid sign up crap, and Starlink is probably saying that nah, it should be silent. If you're giving it the whole plane, then it should just work like internet. And in that case, I would agree with Musk. I understand. If again, we're just getting to it. I haven't read yet, but I understand the position of Delta. But you're not an ISP. You don't need to be making all this money off of internet. Come on now. Business impact. Delta's decision delays connectivity until 2028. Yeah, that was the part I was getting at. So there's nothing to connect to yet because of this spitefulness. Putting it behind competitors like United, American, Southwest, Hawaiian, and Alaska, all using Starlink. Customer reaction. Musk warned the situation will get much worse as some passengers are reportedly choosing United over Delta due to Starlink availability, which goes with the headline I saw somewhere else saying that people were willing to choose a layover or a connecting flight versus a straight shot that didn't have Starlink. And I get that feeling. Live in the X-Jet room. Back in May, spoke about against Delta, publicly announced to not be partnering with Musk. Well, you wouldn't partner with Musk because Musk doesn't offer internet. You'd be partnering with Starlink or SpaceX AI because they offer internet. New post, Musk commented on some customers suggesting they were choosing United Airlines over Delta due to partnering with Starlink. Delta does not move forward. Earlier this year, Delta declined to partner with Starlink, instead chose Leo because SpaceX AI investor Ron Barron revealed in an interview that Delta's decision to pass on the Starlink deal ultimately came down to branding. Okay, so I did read that right then. Barron said that Delta insisted Starlink access would sit behind Delta's branded portal rather than Starlink's. Why don't you guys put your names up there together? It's not that bad. Essentially, Delta wanted to offer Delta Sync to its passengers through its own app rather than Starlink, leading to the deal falling through. Musk offered his take on the deal back in May, claiming that SpaceX requires Starlink Wi-Fi to just work like it would if a user was at their own home, not through a portal. Yeah, makes sense. Not exactly. SpaceX requires there be no annoying portal to use Starlink, Musk wrote in a post on X. Starlink Wi-Fi must work effortlessly every time as though you were at home. I think that's a fair stance given the way we've seen middlemen ruin the experience on stuff before. And I'm sure that they get a vig from SpaceX for allowing that to happen on the jet. So it's just a matter of negotiating the number you want. So we got to have our name on it. Did they not just get a big old ticket with Delta on it? Did they not see the Delta brand on the side of the plane as they get in? Did they not go through the Delta terminal? How many more Delta logos they need to see on the flight? At least until they can take a SpaceX point-to-point rocket. Then of course you might not want their logo in there at all. But we're not there yet. We just recovered our first Starship, sorta. The significant downside to Delta's decision is to partner with Leo. Is that Leo isn't working yet? Not for another 2 years. 2 years. Musk issues a due warning. This week, X aggregator account shared a compilation of a few posts from users complaining about Delta's decision, claiming they were willing to book United over Delta because of United's partnership with Starlink. And of course, Musk chimed in with that. So that is interesting. Shall we look at the comments? I don't know that we should, but we were. Well, let's pull them up and see. And boop. I just dumped Starlink because they raised my rates for the third time since I had it. They are able to do this because they prey on people and businesses that have no other option, such as, in this example, I imagine Delta is aware of how Starlink operates. So my rates went down, but I have lots of other options, so they are probably aware of that. A lot of people in the general aviation had roamer Starlink packages on their planes to have in-flight internet access for weather, updates on whatever else they needed. Starlink SpaceX introduced a policy where if you get charged more for use at speeds above X miles per hour, and that X did change. It was 300 miles per hour, and then it dropped to 100 miles per hour, which is why when I got the upsell for aviation, I was like, excuse me, I did not get anywhere near 100 miles per hour in my Model X. But it turns out they just reused the warning for people who are on the old standby plan where it used to work at low speeds no matter what. And then they said at low speeds, but not in motion. And then they realized that instead of just turning it off, they could try and sell me stuff. But they didn't make another option. So they just keep selling me the aviation plan, which I don't own a plane. So if we needed internet while driving that badly, I could turn it on, but charges of upwards of $150 per month just for that. I'm sure Musk could charge an arm and a leg to the airlines to make up for it. If that's how the company looks at aviation. Yeah, they look at aviation and boating as a super cash cow. And oh, I see what you're saying, Islander. They moved the requests from the bottom to the top. So I will invite you to co-host. And also to speak. And then request. Approve. Sorry about that. I only saw it like I looked up for a second and then that made the clear part of the glasses. Because otherwise that part of the screen is underneath the article. Sorry. I'm just glad it's back because how long were we without the X chats? Like a month? That was too long. Move fast to break things. Although Mushman is still trying to inherit the wind or money to buy more wind. Under Obama, the administration raised Obamacare 300%, which is pretty ironic. Pick the airline with the cheapest price. Having free Wi-Fi on board was really nice. And I might add them in the future as long as they aren't much more expensive than the equivalent flights. That's another practical way to look at it. Starlink for the Roadster will require the aviation plan. Yes, it will. At least if you want to use it in motion. My microphones are cut off, but you have a reverb. I shouldn't have a reverb. What's up with that? Let me check on the video plan and see what we're feeding the system. As soon as I find the mouse again. Oh, wow. Went to the laptop screen. Way down there. So instead of over here, it was down here. All right, so now I need there. Click, clack. I think it's just on your end, sir. Only from the X chat. Interesting. I have no way of testing that one. Well, I guess I have one. I could open up on the phone. Then I'm going to make a mess. So I'm not going to do that. It's weird that it's doing that, though, because it would make sense if I could hear the X in these. Then it might bypass the check valve, but interesting. Most interesting. I have started recovering, not recovering. I think I've finished cleaning up most of the mess in the code base for my small project, and coming up is going to be the small media project where I can dump in podcasts, and then I'll go back to small transcode. And once that is, once those basic functions are there, I will start looking at NDI and a couple of other Oh, I hear it now. Yeah, I see what you're talking about, Highlander. Yeah. But I'll look and see about putting the NDI and a couple of the other components directly into my system, because we've got all this stack of compute over there. Why not move some of this in-house so we can go back to 4K? Because we got the 4K camera. I guess we can't exactly go back 4K because we've got a 1080p video processor, but by the time I finish this, they'll probably have come out with a 4K processor as well. No reverb on X or the white IT stream, just X. X basis. Okay. Interesting. And I did hear it as soon as you unmuted. It was like, whoa, it's me. All right, so yes, this guy picks the cheapest price. That's probably what I would do as well. No one's choosing the airline because the Starlink is delusional. It depends on how long that flight's going to be and who's going with you and what you need to do. You might want or need the internet on your flight. Interesting. I just flew United three days ago in business class, and I believe they said they charge for Wi-Fi. I chose to sleep instead. I don't know how much you fly, but this is a concern to many travelers, especially on longer flights with business people. All right. One of my servers is doing this with the fans. That's annoying. I'll have to check the water. Well, the water was fine last night, though, so should still be fine now. All right, this one's politics. Politics and health. It's RFK Jr. Let's see. Okay. They're talking about the interruption that happened. And it's not relevant to any of the stuff that we talked about. So let's pull up the notebook. Open sidebar. I think I actually have it on the right folder this week because I got lucky. Well, it was on the right folder, and now it's not. But I know how to get there now. There, click. And do we want to start at the top or the bottom or in the middle or mix them up? Let's see. Let's start at the bottom for now. From what I understand, our friend Brian has luggage has been found. So if we're following that saga, we're good to go there. And let's start with share this tab instead. Every 2027 GM EV will plug directly into Tesla superchargers by Michelle Lewis over at Electric. That is the Hummer EV, it looks like to me. Yep. And there it is with the NACS port. GM is putting NACS DC fast charging ports on the entire 2027 model year lineup. So no more CCS adapters for you guys. Every GM from Chevrolet, Cadillac, and GMC will come with native NACS, also known as SAE J3400, which means that drivers will be able to plug in directly to compatible Tesla superchargers and other NACS fast chargers like Iona and the rest. EVgo, ChargePoint. I'm done. 2026 Cadillac Optic already made the switch. The reborn Chevrolet Bolt, which arrives in 26 as the 27, also has a NACS port. For the 27 model year, NACS will come standard on the following: Escalade IQ, Escalade IQ L, Cadillac Lyric, Cadillac Optic, Cadillac Vistic, the Bolt EV, the Blazer EV, Equinox EV, Silverado EV, GMC Hummer EV pickup, the GMC Hummer EV SUV, and the GMC Sierra EV. Islander says, I'm using an Android on the X live chat, and YouTube is just lagging a few seconds behind X. Well, that's weird. Usually, they're ahead of it. And you and me on Android, we usually get the short straw on X. That's cool. Lee says, is that Hummer photo showing the charge port in the correct location, rear left corner? If so, good for GM. Yes, the last Hummer I came across at a supercharger, he had the CCS adapter, but he also had the correct location for supercharging. So all they had to do there was just get rid of his adapter. And then I got into an argument with one of the LMs this morning because he was talking about the Taycan and I was talking about the Macan, and we were both right. So on the Taycan, the passenger side is the supercharging enabled port, but that makes sense because you got to nose in. And on the Macan, and on the Macan, the driver's side is the fast supercharging enabled port because you got to back in. So yes, we were both right, and it worked. All right, so GM was most every 26 GM will still need an adapter. Apart from the optic, GM's 26 EVs still come with CCS1 port. Owners need GM's NACS DC adapter to charge at compatible Tesla superchargers and other NACS fast chargers. Excuse me. Oh, that's unfortunate. So they hoodwinked us. They got us all talking their praises for the one or two they did early, and they didn't do the rest of the fleet until just now. GM currently charges $275 for its approved NACS DC adapter. Woo! It works with compatible NACS DC fast chargers, including more than 27,500 Tesla superchargers, although some supercharger locations remain limited to Tesla vehicles, either due to volume or to them being V2 superchargers, which don't speak NACS. When drivers buy a 27 GM EV, they'll of course need a different adapter to use fast chargers with CCS1 ports, but they don't have to use those. They might want to, depending on what's in their area or where they travel. They'll also need a J1772 adapter for most existing level 2 chargers, including many home charging units. I think that should be included out of the box. It still is included on Teslas, right, Lee? I haven't seen anybody pick a brand new one up and go through what was in the box anymore. I know the mobile charger is not necessarily included, but I thought that the J1772 adapter was still part of the pack. GM sells the CCS1 DC adapter for $189 and its J1772 adapter for $67, or both as a $256 package. Yikes. One app for multiple charging networks. GM's also trying to streamline charging apps and accounts. Its Energy Pass is built into the My Chevrolet, My Cadillac, and My GMC apps. Lets drivers register and pay across multiple networks. I'm guessing that includes superchargers? Yes. Tesla Supercharger, Iona, Electrify America, and ChargePoint are supported now. EVgo is on the way. Together, those networks cover 70% of US DC fast chargers, according to GM. Lee says, I do have the CCS adapter in the sub-trunk. That one I think Tesla charges extra for, but I meant just the regular level 2 charger adapter. They still include that at no extra charge, right? Which is where it's lived since my 24 Model Y. Yeah, I've used mine exactly once to make the video. But what I was after was not the adapter, but the I wanted my Tesla port to become a NACS port, so I could charge anywhere if I needed to. And then the CCS adapter was a gravy bonus. Yes, the J1772 adapter is still included with the Junipers. Okay, cool. So GM is just being extra money grubbing here, charging for their J1772 adapter. Energy Pass supports plug and charge at its at compatible stations, including allowing the vehicle to handle authentication while payment runs in the background. GM says the feature is live at Iona and being expanded to other networks, including superchargers. That's smart. The 2027 Switch should make Tesla-style fast charging considerably easier, but keeps CCS1 and J1772 adapters. Could still be a good idea. A top comment by Modern Marvel Fan. He has a range of quality of comments, so let's see where this one goes. That's because those Tesla supercharger sites aren't NACS. There you go, got it. That's a good one. It's true. Only the newer V3 and V4, type V5, but V4 are Tesla and NACS compatible. Older 2021 and older Teslas are not compatible with the NACS J3400 stations either. They're only compatible with Tesla stations. This is also true if you don't get the upgrade like I did. Most people don't know the difference between NACS and Tesla ports. They look the same in physical size and connection, but they require different protocols in order to work. This is also true. Older Teslas can be upgraded to work with the NACS and SAE J3400 ports with a visit to the service center to add some hardware. In the case of their favored children, the later Model 3s and Ys, you just put a cable in it. On the old boys, we had to replace a board. Same difference, though. And the board is deep in the car, so you may be able to do it yourself, but it's cheaper time-wise and busted knuckles. Just let Tesla do it. Pay the extra ducats and let them do it. Plus, if anything goes wrong, it's in the right place for them to fix it. And usually at no extra charge, because that means they broke it. Tesla recalls over 2 million cars in China. Oh, yeah, that's on our list. Tesla recalls 3 million cars in China. Yep, that's still on our list. They covered it twice. Tesla says FSD 15 is step change. Optimus sells in 2027. That is not on our list, so I will open that next. Tesla confirmed semi-truck is coming to Europe. Reveal at IAA. We knew this, but it's nice to see it in writing, so we will look at that as well. Oh. They get a lot of podcast episodes this week, don't they? All right, so comments are closed. That's fine. I'll give them a little update because it's true. Some V3 cabinets are still reserved for Tesla only. Yes, that's also true. I'll give you an update. Which ones are open and which ones are not are decided by Tesla, and that appears to have been a decision made on how much traffic those sites are getting as not to disrupt the experience for existing Tesla drivers, which makes sense. You're correct, but what I understand is the majority of superchargers are NACS compatible. Yeah, because the majority of them are V3s and V4s, or V3 pluses. I'm sorry, but the superchargers don't have a plug that plugs directly into an electric car, not the other way around. As the article is saying, every GM will plug directly into... Oh, you're being pedantic, my friend. You're being pedantic. But you are correct. The best kind of correct. Technically correct. From my observations, V3 has the short cords and V4 has the more convenient longer cords. Yes, but the V3 pluses have the V4 cords on them. As well as if you're in Germany, the short cable sites have all been replaced by long cable sites. So now you don't know what you got. A to Z is going to offer a NACS to NACS DC extension cord, not the NACS AC NACS to NACS that's currently available today. Yeah, they've been saying that for a while. Haven't seen it yet. We did see one, and it was very, very bad design. That it got taken back for rework. Soon that will be nice, unless they price it too high. Over the past 15 years, we've seen charge ports in many places: front left fender, right rear left fender for the 3 EVs I've owned. Left rear fender are just fine for our garage, but the A to Z DC extension cord is available for V3 supercharging. I'd prefer the left rear. V4 fixes the situation, and it looks like Tesla decided to mostly invest its capex in new station installations instead of upgrading old stations, unless the gear wears out. Yes. I'll give you an update for that. I think I'd prefer to drive directly into the charging station first. I feel safer rather than back in like I had to do with my Tesla. The front right fender would be my preference for a charging port. Ooh. Ooh. I can see everything as I arrive and as I back in. And then if I need to make a quick getaway, I'm already facing the right direction versus having to do a maneuver, hope I don't get slammed, and then switch gears and then boogie out of there. Ugh. Nose in. Heathens. What do you guys think? Can I do a poll with that? I think I can. I can do a YouTube poll. Let's do that. Let's do it. Stop chat. And this chat. And then community, participants, moderation, time lapse, pop out. Where's the poll button? I know I got it. Fan funding. No, we're not doing a fundraiser. +2. Engage with your audience. Oh, okay. It was a members only live stream option. Which, not that I don't enjoy it, meeting up with you all. I want more members before I do another one of those, just because it's a lot of work. We can put a goal in. Q&A. No, let's do a poll. Here we go. Nose in or back in to charge and park. It says yes or no. It's not what I want. Yes or no. Nose. Back. Results. Start a poll. All right. So those of you on YouTube, I'd like you to answer the poll. I'm curious whether you prefer to nose in or back in to charge, and we can use the polling options to see what it looks like. Let's see what we've got here. Lee says, I supercharged for the first time in a few months, a few days ago. I was happy to see someone with a Nero EV charging there with her adapter. The Nero. Yes, I remember the Nero. I was trying to think which one Anders had. I think Anders has the bigger one, the sporty one. Supercharged for the first time. The charge port was on the front bumper, which is super convenient. Yeah, that's why the Leaf put it there, because then you don't got to worry about what side or anything. It's right there on the nose. Boop. And so I've had a couple of superchargers where they're not just nose in but angled. Those are my least favorite because they don't feel like they were made for Model S and X. And they were, because that's where the design came from. But oof. Back in angle, I don't mind. I don't like it just because usually the sites that I find it at, the angles switch from what the rest of the lot is doing. Back straight in, I like. Full straight in, I don't care for it, but it's fine. But the straight in at an angle, Lee voted back in. You can get out and not walk around the door to get to the cable to plug in. Helpful in the rain or if in a hurry. Yes, exactly. That was the thing I didn't like about RJ's insistence on putting it on the front, the rear passenger. I was like, I don't work for the phone company. I don't work for the cable company. I don't have to put out cones every time I stop my van. I don't want to have to do the full circle of a vehicle every time I park it. For them, it makes sense. You force them to do a safety inspection of the vehicle, and you don't end up on the news for telephone company runs over child. So for them, fine. For me, nah. Okay, so how do the polls show up? Okay, cool. It shows me who's winning there. Sweet. Is that what it really shows me? Stand by. The mouse is on that space where the two screens overlap. There we go. Okay, I gotta click it, and then it makes it bigger. Okay, that makes sense. Sweet. And then, of course, if you guys watch this after the fact, I'm curious where it lands. Show me what it was when you started, and then vote. If you're watching the replay. Next up, we've got. Does anyone have any info on the non-Tesla OEM supporting the BD AC NACS? Who's BD? Interesting. Competition has been able to buy for a couple of years the Cybertruck Gateway 3V and a BD AC Universal Wall connector to reverse engineer the Tesla protocols. All of the US EVs were migrating to NACS, so it's logical to expect them to support BD AC NACS, hopefully BD DC NACS for fleets and medium-duty trucks. It's convenient for Tesla to be heads down and focus on execution instead of spending time on standards body meetings that they think aren't going to be consequential to their efforts. I think they did participate in MCS and J3400, but I'm not sure about them participating in BD AC NACS standards. Why would they? They've got 3400. Why would they? Yeah, I don't understand. Unless not BD, bidirectional. Okay, yeah. But now they've handed it over to SAE. They don't have to do as much with it. However, they do have power share on both the Cybertruck and now premium and performance Model Ys. So I would imagine that they would want to do some bidirectional talks so they don't have to go and re-engineer their stuff. We'll sell in volumes and then hopefully open source specs foster interoperability. Hey Lee, how's it going? New Journey 651. Lee says, hey Lee. Lee Moon says, hey Lee. Let's see. Congratulations, GM, for being somewhat quick in the transition. Yes. After we saw the video, was it this morning or last night from Kyle about, how did he call it? Did I save it in the list? I might have saved it in the list because it annoyed me. So over on Out of Spec, Kyle was pointing out how some manufacturers, not just Nissan Leaf, are doing a DC-only NACS. So you'll have DC NACS somewhere on the car, and then you'll have AC, J1772 somewhere on the car, or worse. We haven't seen it yet, but you could have a DC-only NACS and AC-only NACS on different parts of the car, which is just like... For Nissan, I got it like, hey, this thing surprised you, got you at the last minute. Plus, Japan, they're going to put Shademo on that thing somewhere. So you were thinking CCS for everywhere else, and then, whoops, one of the CCS markets is gone. Okay, I get that surprised you. It's a budget car, so there's no time to fix it correctly. However, he was showing a $200,000 Porsche Macan with a DC-only NACS port on the driver's side rear and an AC J1772 only on the passenger side, and it had powered charged doors, and then it was a mess. It's going, and I voted. Thank you, Lee. And the White Pirate says, "Hey, Lee." All right, I see it. It's working. Excellent. Next up. GM's NAC push sounds great, but a universal port could show real innovation. Forcing all automakers into one lane might speed adoption, yet choke breakthroughs in speed, availability, and cost. What do you mean? There's now only 3 ports in the world for cars. You've got NACS, you've got CCS2, and you've got GBT. And then, of course, you've also got whatever's going on in Japan, China, which is probably going to still be GBT. Because it's Chatamo gone. No matter how much the people in Japan say otherwise, Chatamo is gone. I don't see the problem, because most of these cars are not going to change regions. So we have effectively one universal plug. No, a LEAM standard generally better than a proprietary system because of mass manufacturing and competition. The only problem with NACS is they don't have a bidirectional V2G standard approved yet, but it does work. And plug-in charge is not widely supported enough yet. Other than that, NACS is great. Yeah. It's robust, it's small. And then MCS is also pretty darn cool because MCS, while it doesn't offer low voltage charging, it is a pretty robust standard for megawatt charging on heavy equipment, boats, ships, trucks, mining rigs, ferries. Yeah, so I think we finally locked it down. And MCS and NACS both speak CCS, so you didn't have to re-architect too much of your vehicles to make it happen. Only problem is understand the principle you're invoking here, but doesn't apply to infrastructure. Infrastructure needs to be standardized and upgraded within a predefined framework. Otherwise, growth in adoption becomes too expensive. We don't need innovation in the shapes of connectors. Ultimately, the only difference between NACS and CCS1. If you squint, yes, that is the only difference between NACS and CCS1. However, not just the sizing of them, but where the pin is, the voltage ranges, and so forth. Like the NACS is more robust than CCS1 ever could have been. In software and hardware behind the plug. Does anyone know whether 27 GMs will support bidirectional AC NACS like Cybertruck and Model Y? GM is also moving the vehicle charge ports to the left rear of the vehicle so they can easily charge on V3 superchargers like Rivian R2. Yes and yes, because GM already had a bidirectional power on CCS, and NACS allows bidirectional power And on the GM trucks, the power was always in the left rear. However, left rear. However, their smaller vehicles were a grab bag of to where you'd find the ports, either the driver's fender or passenger side or the driver's rear or passenger rear. So hopefully this will include the idea that people will be supercharging. V3 and 4 superchargers should have longer cables at least. That's the plan going forward. V4 for sure. Yep. Left rear of the vehicle is one of the worst natural positions of the port. It's only there because Musk likes it for his own garage parking preferences. Now we're all suffering his silly decision because Tesla forced that on the rest of the North American market. See, was he talking about the range of quality of his comments? Is there any backing to that last assertion? I don't mind the driver's fender, but I find that the cable gets in the way of the door less than it did with my Volt, with it being in the back of the car there. Any supercharger location with V4 dispensers does have longer cables. Yes, this is true. This is for both V3 and V4 cabinets. It started almost 2 years ago. At this point, it is a significant portion of the installed base. Yes, if in the Tesla app, you can identify these stations because they're listed as 325 kilowatts. If a station's listed as 250, it has the shorter cables. There are now a few 500 kilowatt stations. These have longer cables and are also 1,000 volt capable. I've been to one of them. The only problem with left rear is that it's bad for street side charging, which was RJ's argument, is that for street side it is not good. And this is true. However, in North America, how much street side charging is there outside of the large cities? Lee says might need to iterate hardware changes into the connector for more robust pins or connectors, cooling, etc. as power increases. Yes, and that's what I liked about when they went to NACS. They sent it over the 1,000 volt NACS, not the Tesla old style. So it came with a bit of future proofing when they ratified it. So there's time for them to do what they need to do to make it work for more, without us all and having to put MCS on our passenger cars. Or we do wireless. It's also extremely bad for the popular slanted parking spots where the charging post is installed at the end of the spot and hard for cars to reverse into the corner counter direction slanted spots. I'll give you that because I hate the angled supercharger spots, frontwards or backwards. Now, the back ones aren't as bad because you're not having to go through this trough. The front ones are just ugh. I don't know. I hardly, although when towing at an angle spot, the nose in angle spot works better for me. Still doesn't stop me from making a mess, but I highly doubt moving the location of the port would be a lot more expensive than just changing the port. True. Yes, baby. Yes, I'm here. Marco's calling me. Moving the port isn't very hard. In the grand scheme of things, if you have competent engineering, it's not hard. Hard, no. Expensive, yes. Telling a board of directors you want to spend a couple $1 million of their dividends on design, tooling, stamping, etc. to relocate the port, it shouldn't be that bad if you're doing responsive design. In the grand scheme of things, yes. All right, so where were we? Oh, we're on a sidetrack. Okay, so let's continue with our sidetrack, and then we'll get back onto the list. I was looking for the article that pulled us here, and it was way down. All right, so Tesla says FSD V15 is a step change. Optimus sells in 2027. I'm still over here waiting for V14 Lite. Tesla laid out updated timeline for full self-driving, its Cybercab, the Optimus robot, and in a recent meeting with JP Morgan at its Fremont factory. The bank walked away with claims that FSD V15 is a step change, and that today's Hardware 4 computer can handle unsupervised driving, and Optimus could go on sale to outside buyers as soon as the second half of 2027. Ooh, I didn't think anybody was buying it this year, but Now it's said. Most of it repeats promises Tesla's made and missed before. Fair enough. Who wrote this? Fred wrote this. Okay, so we're gonna be a little salty, but you have me reading it to you, so we were already gonna be a little salty. Lee says wireless charging will be awesome and convenient for both home and public charging. Yes, agreed. V15 step change. Tesla shipped V14 in October of 25. And I still don't have it here in August of 26. It's its first big update in roughly a year, and Elon called V14.3 the last piece of the puzzle back in April. So V15 is at least the third version in a row pitched as the one that finally gets there. V12 was also sold as that as well, if you don't recall there, Fred. 14.3 to 7 did well when I left town and got onto I-95 and all through Jacksonville. Hey, look at that. So if they are starting to make some steps over for Lee, they might actually be making some progress, or they took some time to handle some stuff that actually handles his cases, and somebody else is over there complaining elsewhere now, which is also a possibility. But I hope that the first one is the case. It's like they got some more of the stuff that applies to Lee, which means that it's getting better and not getting better here and then worse over there. Ugh. But we'll see. Last piece of puzzle back in April, third one in a row, and there is the same place that Tesla has been selling since 2016. Yes, they have. Unsupervised full self-driving on a car you own. Every version has been a step change. Customers are still supervising. Hardware 4 can handle it. It's the same thing they said about Hardware 3. Yes, they knew Hardware 2 wouldn't handle it, and they sold it to us anyway. 2.5 is what I got, and upgraded to 3, and then 3's not enough. Tesla told the bank that Hardware 4 computer, which he calls AI4, would run V15 and unsupervised. At the same time, Tesla's rolling out AI 4.5, a version of the chip with roughly 10% more compute and about twice the memory. It rhymes. Tesla made the exact promise about the previous computer, Hardware 3, years before quietly walking it back. Hardware 3 cars are now getting a stripped-down V14 Lite, some of them, instead of the real thing, and recently reported on rising Hardware 3 computer failure rates tied to that software, and apparently dirty radiators, according to the guy who did his V3 to V4 manual upgrade. There are also the chip roadmap. Tesla delayed its next-gen AI5 chip to mid-2027 and confirmed that Cybercab will launch on AI4 or 4.5 now, question mark. The goalpost for the hardware that finally does unsupervised driving keeps sliding to the next chip, and that it will continue. Cybercab scaling, confidence, not cars. On the robotaxi program, Tesla told JP Morgan it is confident it can scale the Cybercab in the near term, deliberately holding back further Model Y robotaxi conversions because of that confidence, using an unboxed manufacturing process and targeting a long run cost of around 30 cents per mile, with a fleet expansion accelerating from 2026 to early 2027, its safety levels can now allow it, which has been the case for more than a year into the robotaxi program. All right, so I'm going to stop there for a second and say, well, first let's see what Lee says. Lee Moon says, still misreading the 40 mile per hour minimum speed limit sign. Yes, I don't know how they've never driven in Georgia. You're driving on the freeway, and all of a sudden you're doing 75, 80, and then, we're doing 50 because the minimum speed sign says 40, 45, all by itself, which is stupid, Georgia. They should be on the same sign. But you have enough customers in Georgia that they should understand that that sign exists and that it is floating out by itself. But it gently applied the brakes instead of hard braking from 70. Okay, so they're getting better. And Lee Moon also says that FSD is learning my preferred routing, though not always. I haven't seen it not do my preferred route except for in the cases where there's been a traffic jam or a crash on it. So there's one thing. And yes, I did confirm I was already on the new map when I went to go look that one time for, I don't know if it was here or if it was with Tesla Life Show. FSD is learning my preferred route starting to see improvements after a very annoying string of terrible regressions here. Glad to hear that it's doing better. So what I was saying was, on the robotaxi, they should not stop making Model Y robotaxis, because there are plenty of cases where you're going to need more than 2 seats. If you got a family with young kids, like multiple young kids, if you got a family with kids that should be supervised no matter what, because they can get into stuff, you're going to want to be able to take 4 passengers, 5 passengers at a time. So they should not stop making the Model Y robotaxi. But I do agree, yes, you should make more of the Cybercab than the robotaxi Model Y. But don't stop making the robotaxi Model Y, because that's stupid. Just look at your numbers. Look at your numbers. Anyway, let's continue with what Fred said here. Less of the Model Ys. Tesla's actual driverless service in Austin still runs a handful of cars after more than a year after launch, and there are still frequent issues with Tesla's robotaxis despite the extremely low mileage. Tesla recently disclosed that only 380,000 unsupervised miles since launching. That sounds like a lot to me, but yeah, he's right. It probably is low for what they did. For comparison, Waymo is over 200 million miles. Yeah, that doesn't look good. Meanwhile, Tesla is already mass-producing a Cybercab it can't legally sell or drive itself. That they are doing. Confidence in scaling and a scaled service are not the same thing. Fair enough. Optimus Gen 3 is on sale in 2027 and will still reveal is MIA. Tesla told JP Morgan that the Optimus Gen 3 design is fine. Yeah, the Gen 3 has been finalized for what? Friggin' year now, right? We still haven't seen it. It's essentially locked in. And a production line is going into the old Model S and X facility in Fremont. Okay, so if that's what they're waiting on, I guess we saw them tear that apart. External commercial sales could start as early as 2027, second half, with long-term capacity ambitions at about 1 million units out of Fremont and 10 million out of Texas. Wow. Lee Moon says maybe, just maybe, they're getting ready to let the consumer fleet Model Ys join the robotaxi fleet with FSD 15 after Cybercab rolls out. Okay, I'll give you that. And then they don't need to make their own. And then they also fulfill the promise of your car can make money for you while you're at work. Or whatever. Yeah, okay, I would give them that. I just didn't see them letting us participate anytime soon. So I didn't consider that possibility, but you're right. If they make good on his promises, then there it is. And if my little unicorn wasn't unobtainium now, I would consider putting it on the network. But even if we switch to like a Cybertruck or something as our daily driver, I don't see letting strangers in there. Not now. Not when it's irreplaceable. Let's see. $10 million in Texas. 2 things undercut that. Tesla has pushed Gen 3 reveal repeatedly, and Musk himself admitted that no Optimus robots are doing useful work at Tesla after claiming otherwise. All right. Musk previously claimed that Tesla would have 5,000 Optimus bots last year. He did say that. The reality is there's still only a few robots for testing. And so the pitch is a robot that Tesla hasn't shown that can't yet do a job inside its own factory, on sale to outside customers in under 2 years. I get the skepticism. The analysts relaying all this. Worth knowing who's carrying the message. JP Morgan replaced Ryan Brinkman with one of Wall Street's longest running Tesla bears, Rajat Gupta. Wait. So if Mr. Gupta is saying this, then is that strong, or are they saying that he's changed horses in the midstream? Gupta has upgraded the stock to neutral and set a price of around $445. Gupta came to Tesla off a bullish call on Carvana. The note mostly relays Tesla's own guidance from the Fremont visit without much pushback. Lee says, I'm not going to put my Y in the robotaxi fleet. I don't even let some relatives sit in my car. I feel you, Lee. What I would probably do, if I could swing it, is I would get another car, and I'd put that car in the robotaxi fleet and just leave it there 24/7. Unless they wanted me to do my own cleaning, and then I would put it there when I'm available to do the cleaning. But what I'm hoping I would see is that you just leave it in there and they'll take it out and do the service, take it out and do the cleaning, and then just charge you each time it had an event. I think that would be cool. Top comment by Jason. Typically the last piece of the puzzle means that there are no more gaps to fill, and literally you can't add anything to it. But I'm sure they have the metaphor. I'm sure they have the metaphor right this time. The useful part of this note isn't JP Morgan's rating. It's the rare, specific look at what Tesla is telling investors behind closed doors at Fremont right now. Rate it that way, and every line is a Tesla claim, filtered through the analyst who just sells stocks. But one that you just told us was a bear. So for him to be confident, is that good, or has he changed on us? Stack the 4 claims against Tesla's own record, and the pattern is hard to miss. FSD 15 is a step change, just like 14 and 13. Hardware 3 does unsupervised driving, just like hardware 3 and hardware 2.5. I guess 2.0, not 2.5. 2.5 we knew wasn't going to do it. As we were getting it. Cybercab is about to scale into a service. Robotaxi has been stuck in a neutral for a year, and Optimus goes on sale in 2027, despite Tesla showing nothing about the program in half a year. We'll believe unsupervised FSD on hardware 4 when a customer car does it. Yeah. And Tesla takes responsibility, which might never happen. Except we did have those, 2 factory to customer home deliveries where the car drove off the line and straight home. I mean, it is a little bit like SpaceX, where I visit the X chat room. Oh, Robert's here. Hello. Oh, Highlander got booted. Let's fix you back. Approve. Good to see you, Robert. Highlander got booted. Let's fix you back.
Hi, Robert. Glad you could make it, buddy.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah. So we do have those handful, and they do run a little bit like SpaceX, where you don't have to do it again and again and again to have confidence in it. So if 4.5 didn't come out right after they did that, I would give that as evidence that they might be ready to do this. But we'll see. Comments. These comments aren't closed yet. There's one new comment from when we started this. Let's be real here. Tesla has 3 products: Model 3, Model Y, and Cybertruck. They failed to deliver on every promise made after the Cybertruck. They do also have solar panels and Powerwall and Megapack. Oh, and supercharger. You can buy a supercharger if you want to. Notice I didn't say one. We'll get to that later in the show. Get back to releasing products people want to buy and give up on the money bonfire process. Yeah. Build a smaller, cheaper car, build a 3-row vehicle, and maybe an off-road model. Look at these products. They've been announced and never delivered. Roadster. Would be low-volume, high-price Halo vehicle. Mainly useful for marketing, but not a lot of profit. That's fine. Semi. No evidence there's a market for this product. What? Are you serious? Didn't they just sell 500 of them, like in one go? Current prototype trials are not going well. We're well over a year past when they were supposed to end. They just changed the models, and it's on sale now. And the factory is almost done. Cybercab, a complete waste of money vanity project. It's less useful than a Model 3 without a steering wheel, and required them engineering a new body design. It doesn't even matter how good FSD is. Nobody needed this at all. If it works the way they say it will, then it could be finally what Dean Kammen's It was supposed to be, revolutionizing the redesign of cities and blah, 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 blah. We'll see what actually happens. But Optimus. Current demos are massively behind competitors like Boston Dynamics, which is completely outside Tesla's core competencies. Should be killed immediately. Why would you kill it now? It's almost done. Give it a shake, see what it can do, if it can make any money. Then decide to kill it or expand it. Would any of these things ever come out, or is Elon just trying to push out the timeline longer and longer before it all collapses? All right, we talked about Jason. If 15 step change micro improvements, that would still be L2, and then 14 is step below what's necessary. Yeah, if 15 is still level 2, then it can't be unsupervised robotaxi, can it? Dude, it's L4 certified in Texas. The robotaxi is. Dude, there's no such thing as L4 certification in Texas. Tesla filled an administrative document where it self-certified that the fleet on 42 odd vehicles would be able to operate as level 4. But most of the problem with level 4 is really that they are willing to take that hit. So if they say it is, then we'll find out if they pay up the first time something happens. 4, fewer than 24 of these are pilot vehicles, especially equipped, not consumer versions, are operating in tiny geofenced areas. Yeah. 100% there is no L4 in consumer cars, but L4 in the pilot cars you mentioned, thanks for acknowledging. Tesla has no L4 certified cars anywhere. It's operating pilot vehicles as if they were L4, or at least claiming, though. No one really knows. I mean, if they say they are and something happens, then they have to pay up. Okay, so that's enough of that. Let's move on to the next sidetrack before we get back on track to the notebook. All right, so this one is about the semi-truck. Let's see. He says I'd have my wife take me to places like the movie theater, head home and park, and then come back to the theater to pick me up. I would love that, Lee. That would be awesome. Especially places where you got a valet. Then I don't have to leave the car in a parking lot except for a couple hours. Yes. Well, like that time I had to park in New York and it was $100 to park per night. The car cost almost as much as my hotel did. Ugh. I accidentally booted myself from... Oh, that's what happened in the room? Okay. Optimus will have a different role after initial consumer rollout. Optimus works bot for initial Mars site prep and before humans arrive. Yeah, so that's another good point is if they're not merged, they're going to sell a whole mess of them to SpaceX to get the moon and Mars ready. I'm curious what changes they'll have to make the thing moon and Mars ready, though. All right, so again, Tesla confirms semi-electric truck is coming to Europe, reveal at IAA. So I'm curious if they're going to change the shape at all, because the Europeans really like their cab over shape. But the Tesla Semi already meets the sizing requirements for the most part. They just got to change the headlight pattern. It'll reveal specs and launch details next month at IAA Transportation, the continent's largest commercial vehicle show. All right, so we'll find out before the leaves start to change, won't we? In North America, anyway. Tesla Semi accounted for specs and launch details for Semi in Europe will be unveiled at IAA in Hanover, Germany, which runs September 15th to 20th. Semi will be on display at the show. All right. What Tesla actually announced? Who wrote this? Fred again. The announcement is short on detail by design because they're announcing an announcement. You don't want to announce the whole announcement before the announcement of the announcement because there's nothing to announce at the announcement for the announcement for the announcement. Right? It's short on detail by design. Tesla isn't giving European range figures, pricing, or on sale date yet. It's committing to bringing the truck to Hanover to put numbers on the board. Right, because they've got to start the retail sales in the US first. So that makes sense. Tesla's been publicly gearing up to sell the Semi in Europe since last year. At IAA 2024, it brought a truck, but said almost nothing about the actual market plan. This time, it's framing the Hanover as the launch venue, which is the cleanest signal yet that Europe is happening rather than being perpetually coming. I'm curious, though, are they going to build them in Europe? I think that expansion to Giga Berlin is happening at this point. I say that. But they might have more of the cardboard forest and the bispatial frogs and all this other stuff they got to worry about. So might not actually be across the street from Berlin, but it might be somewhere else. I'm curious. We'll find out. What Europe will get, at least mechanically, is the truck Tesla is already building in Nevada. Tesla revealed the specs in February with 2 trims, standard range and long range. Both tri-motor, 800 kilowatt drivetrain rated at 1072 horsepower and charge up to 1.2 megawatt charging speeds. Tesla's quoting $290,000 for the long-range semi and roughly $260,000 for the standard range in the U.S. at the lowest priced Class 8 battery electric truck on the market. Hey, that's the Tesla we know and love, right? What the trucks cost in euros and where they'll be built in Europe are open questions that the reveal needs to answer. That's a good question. With that much power, are they even able to ship them overseas from Sparks? Power, I should say energy, not power. Production is finally real. A European launch gives some credibility to Tesla Tesla finally achieving the volume production of the long-delayed truck. They rolled out the first semi of its high-volume production line in Gigafactory Nevada in April and dedicated a 1.7 million square foot plant designed for 50,000 trucks per year, and what turned the semi from a 9-year coming soon into something that fleets can actually order. Demand has followed production. This week, Swedish freight factory Einride placed the largest semi order yet at 500 trucks. That's what I was referring to earlier when the other guy was like, oh, it's fake. I was like, really? Somebody bought a good amount of fake ones, and if that's the case. Though notably for its North American fleet, not Europe. That's not really all that notable. It makes perfectly good sense that they would buy the trucks where they can use them rather than buying trucks from a market that they can't use them in to the market that they, Tesla's late to a market that Europe already electrified. There's room with some of the electric trucks I've seen out of Europe. They're fine, but fine is not good. Latest comment by Double Triple X. Tesla Semi has no chance in Europe. Unlike in the US, the electric trucks are already a visible part of the European freight market, freight traffic. All right. Broad claim. Let's see how you try and back it up. European trucks are built around strict limits on width, length, and height. And have you checked to see the limits on the Tesla Semi? It is not an American bulldog shape and size, which is why the cabs are smaller and shorter. The Semi would need substantial changes, really. Especially because the central driving position is poorly suited to many tasks drivers routinely perform from the driver's window. Okay, so you've got they've had this out for 2 years now in testing. They changed the windows because there are stuff that people need to do from the window versus what they were doing previously. All you really do is switch sides of the truck depending on which European country we're talking about. So if the central driving position was as big of a deal as this person claims it is, then after the Mark 1, they would not have continued with the central driving position if it was so poorly suited for many of the tasks the drivers need to routinely perform. We haven't heard any of the drivers that drive it complain about that. The closest we've seen is they say it takes a minute to get adjusted to it. Anyway, European electric trucks are extremely efficient. I doubt that. I'm not saying they're not efficient at all, but I doubt that a conversion truck is going to beat a purpose-built truck on efficiency. We've seen this in the car space. A conversion car versus a dedicated car. And the dedicated car literally whoops the conversion car. Or those stupid dual and tri-use frames that we talked about with a certain automaker. You'll see that on the Tesla Live show there. The Mercedes e-Actros 600, for example, uses LFP cells and a multi-speed gearbox and decades of commercial engineering behind it. So you're saying that it comes with certain legacy assumptions about it. And then there's service. European truck manufacturers have extensive service networks, and because the truck is simply have to keep running. You think that Tesla, the automotive company around for 20 years now, has never heard of servicing their vehicles? That they don't have mobile service? That they didn't just spend 2 years, 3 years with Pepsi? building the service program out to what a corporation would want for their trucks. My dude, you bring up some points, but you don't back them up. And then there's service. We started on service. Keep it running. Tesla service situation is already a red flag in Europe with many passengers. Yeah, their service. If you can get in, if you can get hold of anybody in a two-way communication, each individual employee, man, they do such a good job. I don't think they're going to make some of the same hands-off, touchy, put in a ticket mistakes that they make as they try and make consumer service cheaper repeatedly. I don't see them making those same mistakes on their corporate program. Semi isn't entering an empty market. It's entering a market where European manufacturers are already well ahead. And by well ahead, I mean, I'm reading this for him. Well ahead meaning they actually have something on the road that you can sell and buy and service today. But we'll see how far well ahead they are the minute that the Tesla Semi lands in Europe, which I don't think it's as far ahead as this guy thinks it is. Lee Moon says, if FSD comes to Semi and is available in the EU, then the driver can move within the cabin to take advantage of the left and right needs. Why would they need to, though, Lee? They sit smack in the middle of the truck. Request from Motoko. She wants Hello Kitty Dream Store free from the App Store. I don't see any. I'm just age rating 9 years old. It's English. Looks cute. Yeah, it's got a decent rating. I'm not seeing any warning signs. I don't see that it is what you call multiplayer. I'll allow it this time. Mainly to get it off my screen. Okay, so yeah, Lee, I don't see. Excuse me, I don't see why it matters to them if they sit in the middle. And then Fred goes on to the e-Actos 600, a long-haul truck with a 500-kilometer range and 600 kilowatt-hour battery. So right there alone, I don't know if this matters as much in Europe based on their driving regs are similar to ours, but I think they're still more strict than ours. So 600 kilowatt-hour battery pack would put it in between the Tesla Semi and Tesla Semi long range. It's already there on the road in 15 European countries. Volvo Trucks, the region's electric heavy truck sales leader, unveiled a new generation of HGVs in April. MAN, Scania, and Renault and DAF all have battery electric Class 8 tractors in production or delivery. Okay. Good. Competition is what we want, right? Yes. These aren't concepts. European fleets have been buying and running electric long-haul trucks from domestic brands with established service networks, homologation, and dealer support. The exact infrastructure Tesla still has to build out on the continent. They can get a head start by using their car networks. They just need to have a building that they can put the trucks in. This is not as hard as Fred or the commenter make it seem. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy by any means, but they are not as far behind as it looks. Once they have a product, you can drive, obviously. That's step one. But in the US, at least, Tesla appears to have cost and range advantages. Yes, against those same people. At the unveiling at the IAA next month, we should see if these advantages carry over to Europe. And I expect that they will. Or at least be competitive. Let's see. All right, double triple X. Absolutely, I can't see a fleet manager deciding to buy a Tesla truck when there's absolutely zero service management in Europe. Volvo and Mercedes already have 600 and 700 kilometer trucks in the market and 100 years relationship and service centers. Okay. I agree with this. Tesla's won in areas as first mover, cars, battery. No, they weren't. It's just all the other electric cars sucked, and so then they came in with like the Roadster, and it was like this is cool. And then they came in with the Model S, and it's like, hey, that's not terrible. And then they came out with the Model 3, and it's like, hey, that's really good. You don't think that they have a chance? You are biased if you think they don't have a chance. I acknowledge that they will not have it easy, but to rule them out right off the gate is not a smart thing to do. So hopefully you are not working for one of their competitors. Otherwise, you're putting them in a bad spot by saying, "Oh, you can ignore this; it's not a threat." And then all of a sudden, their lunch is getting it. Article mentioned sightedness as an issue. I'm not sure what the specifics are regarding that. I don't think the article did. I think it was the way that Electrek pulls the comments into the article. The commenter mentioned sightedness as an issue, and yeah, you're right. In that case, FSD could handle it, but they sit smack in the middle, and so he was saying that was a detriment in some way. But now that the windows aren't the vent windows, and they just roll down, then there's no difference between the Tesla Semi and a regular Semi, except how far up the vehicle that the person that's handing you something is getting. So unless they're handing you something from a building, like a drive-through, then there's no difference between the Semi and a conventional Semi. Literally take 1/2 extra step into you. At a drive-through building situation, you might want the Tesla Grabber, or it might not be as bad as it looks. But they are leaning further in because you're not going to be right next to them. I agree, Tesla. Unfortunately for Tesla, as is the case with almost everything they do these days, they are late to the party. They've been late to the party many times before. The article mentions the European truck market already has been electrifying for some time, yes. And there are multiple competitors that are well established in terms of dealer networks and service. Yes, you guys have. Can we hear something new? There's no benefit in offering longer range because the drivers have to take 45 minutes of rest every 4.5 hours. And given that trucks are limited to 89 kilometers in Europe, there's simply no need to have more range. You can't use it. It makes the truck more expensive and heavier. You could still use the ePTO because having the extra battery power to run your refrigerators or your cement truck turner or whatever the heck is going on is not a bad idea versus having an electric truck hauling a diesel refrigerator for no reason. So you can't say that Europe is perfect. There is room to innovate on this than simply taking the diesel engines out and putting in electric and batteries. Until we see some of the Volvo and MAN and Scania concept trucks that we saw, until they hit the road. Unless they can hit the road before the Semi does, there is so much room to improve on what they did and what's out there than to say that Tesla has no chance at this. Go to Europe, you'll see 0 long-nosed Class 8 truck. Yes, okay, fine. They're all cab over, which if you measure this one, it's practically the same thing. Traction needs to be substantially shorter due to the narrower roads in Europe. No, that's because of your total overall length, not the narrow roads. I saw cab overs making turns at intersections in Ireland last year that a long-nosed American tractor would have 0 chance of making. A long-nosed engine forward American class truck, yes, but a short nose American class truck with an insane turning ratio, that might change things a little bit because if there's no engine in the middle, you can turn your wheels a lot further. And if they know they're going into Europe and they know that they're not going to do a cab over, and I didn't say they're not doing a cab over, but if they don't do a cab over, then they would know they need to be able to make the same turns that all the competitors can make, or they're coming in at a disadvantage. Yes, my pleasure, Lee. Euro trucks are made for Euro conditions and laws, and you're thinking that a company that sells millions of dollars of automobiles into Europe cannot comply with European laws? Come on now. The most obvious choice of these laws is a total system length, which is why Euro cabs are much shorter than the Tesla cab, and maximum driver hours, which is why Euro trucks are hauling 600 to 725 kilowatt hours maximum of batteries around. The most obvious driving hour rules are strictly no more than 4.5 hours without a 45-minute stop, and no more than 9 or 10 hours of driving a day, depending on previous days and weeks of driving. It doesn't sound that much worse than ours. Like an hour less per day, and a longer break, 15-minute more break. The truck was already made to handle ours, and you don't think in a year they could finish reformulating the batteries and have an idea of a better charging curve that can still last the life of the vehicle? Maximum speed anywhere in Europe and for trucks is 90 kilometers per hour. That's the other part right there. Is on top of all the American stuff that we can already do. You're going to be going slower, so the extra 15 minutes of break, this is gravy for them. Volvo and Mercedes are hitting 1.1 kilowatt hours per kilometer, so there isn't any need for an 800 kilometer truck if you have infrastructure to charge it. Okay, so 1 to 1.1 versus 1.2 on the long range, but you're not going to be buying the long range there, so we haven't seen numbers on the short range. Standard range, sorry. Hopefully DAF, Mercedes, Volvo, and Iveco will continue dominating in Europe with their long histories and service networks. I say, bring on more competition. There's a reason almost all trucks are cab over in Europe. Length. Price-wise, I can see them competing with Sany, who have a well-established dealer network. Oh, can't see. Okay, sure. Look carefully at Tesla Semi. There's no engine compartment in front of the cabin, nor is there a frunk. It's a pretty compact design. Thank you, somebody who can actually look at their eyes. As for dealer networks, Tesla might do something similar to Sany, which is simply to outsource the existing truck maintenance shops. Mm-hmm. We've seen that in Sweden, right? Their market share in the EU is so tiny that they only just entered the market. Finally, somebody with some thinking ahead skills. Hey, Lee, can Semi do independent drive left and right, reverse one motor versus opposite motor for tighter turning radius? That's a good question. They have one motor on the mid axle and 2 motors on the rear axle. So I guess they could break one wheel on each of them and then drive. Yeah. And then they've already got the anti-jackknifing that they showed off where they tried to put the truck into a spin and the software pulled it back out and they were on ice. So you're onto something there. I think you're onto something there. Actually, what they typically run in Europe is what we would call a low cab forward in this country, used mainly on straight trucks that specialize in specialized service like sanitation and concrete booms. I don't see that being the case. From most of the concrete and boom trucks I see, those were like little man boxes versus what I see in Europe, which is what we would typically call a cab over. Meaning the entry door is actually forward of the front axle. Oh, I see what you're saying. That will change things depending on where you consider to be the entry door in that case, but I was looking at the size and shape of the cab. Let's see what else he says. In Europe, the entire cab, including sleeper, would end about where the door is on the Tesla Semi. Mm-hmm. Because the sleeper is on the 3rd level. First level is engine, 2nd level is driver in the seat, 3rd level sleeper. The kingpin on the trailers are further behind on the front of the trailer, meaning the Tesla, as is, I believe, I don't have the specs, would not have enough room for the trailer to swing without hitting the cab. It would likely be a single axle tractor in Europe, so the 5th wheel would be back a little further, so it might have the clearance. You guys are all assuming that they're going to just lift the American truck and ship it over to Europe. They already said they understand that there will be some changes. The point here is that the nose is long compared to typical European truck. Even that it has one, it's like 1.5 feet. It's not like an American truck where it's like 8 feet long. Sure, if you compare it to a U.S. truck, it's actually shorter. European trucks have the engine under the driver. They also don't have a frunk. If the design made sense, we would have been using it for years to save fuel, but it's too long to fit. Santa have been selling trucks in Germany for 18 years. They have to re-engineer their entire cab to be competitive. Oh boy. Okay, so that's enough of these people who are not acknowledging that there's a chance to shake up the market over there. I'm only semi-excited about this. I'll give you that for the joke. I do see what you did there, and I agree it's less interesting than other things, as although it is still a good news overall. That's why I jumped straight to the comments. I'm now glad I did. It will still be on sale in Europe next year, TM. No, it won't. You can't trust Tesla to have this thing on sale next year. And they barely have it on sale here in the States. Come on now. Also, will Semi be able to use FSD in Netherlands when it comes out? Or does that get certified separately? They're not even advertising FSD here in the States, although it's got all the equipment. Semi does not use FSD anywhere, so that's not a big concern. Okay, so moving on, like I said, back to the notebook from our sidetrack. We talked about GM. Let's go to Giga Shanghai now, I guess. Copy, link the clipboard, paste and go. I'm glad we're not in that other browser. It would give us worlds of trouble. Giga Shanghai hits a major production milestone with 6 millionth battery pack. Congratulations, guys. I don't even think I need to go into the article for that one, do I? Awesome work, team. Tesla Cybercab Braille features draw praise at Nevada hearing. We'll go there. Another sidetrack, I know, but whatevs. A Federation of the Blind member told Nevada regulators this week that Tesla Cybercab already feels like a breakthrough for riders who often get passed over by ride-hailing apps after she sat in the robotaxi during the same stretch of meetings. Speaking at the Nevada Transportation Authority general session, Mona said that Braille is built into the cabin in a way that she has not seen elsewhere. The companion app is easy to use, and there's room to roll a wheelchair straight in. I didn't realize that you could roll a wheelchair straight in there. Oh, I see. Because the doors don't get in the way, you can get straight up to it and then fold it and bring it in there with you. Clever. And see, this is what I'm talking about. People just assuming about the way that the vehicle is shaped without trying it out. Look at that. She contrasted that with Uber and Lyft drivers who sometimes drive past when they see a cane or service dog. With Cybercab, she said the vehicle does not know whether a rider is blind or using a wheelchair. It only knows someone needs a ride. Just sitting in it. Oh, yeah, here you go, Robert. Sorry. I thought that Highlander got you there, but I got you. Boop. Just sitting in it, knowing how comfortable someone is acceptable, is the most amazing thing out there, she told the panel. Sorry, the panel. You can forgive me for that one, because that's right on the edge of the two screens. I think we can watch this.
I've lived ADA, and to have something like the Cybercab
Sorry,
would
Robert.
be really beneficial to us as the blind community. Their app is absolutely accessible. Sometimes the Uber and the Lyft, theirs isn't. If you have to take paratransit, you have to schedule 3 days in advance. And what if you want to go someplace now?
Yeah.
This would be so beneficial to the not just the blind community.
Need you to get a little closer to the mic. Not your fault at all. There you go. You're good. Perfect. There.
Okay.
Go ahead. Continue, please.
I don't like these things.
We understand. Please don't feel intimidated. Go ahead.
But yesterday I got to experience and play with the Cybercab. It's got Braille in there. Nobody else has Braille. I mean, you get in a car and you're sitting there and you're wondering what's going on. It has Braille. The app is wonderful. Now, a person that's in a wheelchair, there's space to put the wheelchair. They can just, if upper body strength, they can just push themselves right in, collapse the chair and put it in with them. I mean, it can do so much for people with disabilities. I mean, trying to wait around for a Lyft or an Uber, and it tells you what type of car it is and the color of it and the license plate. Well, I hate to tell you guys, I can't see it. So I'm depending on the driver to know who I am. And a lot of times, the Uber and Lyft, if they see you with a dog or a cane, they drive right past you and cancel you. So you're getting that charge of canceling. With the cyber cab, it doesn't know that you're blind. It doesn't know that you're in a wheelchair. It just knows that you need a ride. So I completely love the car. Just sitting in it, feeling how comfortable it is, and knowing that something's accessible. It's just, to me, it's just the most amazing thing out there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Mona. So I have been looking at the different disadvantaged population for all of this the whole time. I talk about people who can no longer drive or shouldn't be driving, like the elderly. What about people who can drive, but they can't because they have disabilities? In the case of if they need assistive with technology on their car, or in the case of Mona, where if you're blind, you don't have a chance at any of that. And it's not only does she bring up about the wheelchair can go straight up because of the doors, the ladybug doors. If you have to wait 3 days after deciding you need to go somewhere to schedule the ride in advance, I've seen the paratransit taxis and buses, and there aren't many of them. And wow. So it's not just your say your grandparents or you as you age out. It's gonna be so many more people who have the freedom to just go wherever and whenever they want to go. It's gonna make a big difference in the world. Let me put you both back in since we've got the two of you who've done it before. Invite co-hosts. Send. Invite co-hosts. Send. Whew. Man. They did an okay job paraphrasing her, but man, hearing her speak, that was my thank you, Sawyer, for that. That was wow. Cybercab engineering lead Eric, who also appeared in the session, framed accessibility as a core design target. The company has integrated Braille into Cybercab, is adding a grab and support points for getting in and out, and set the seat height to match a standard wheelchair, so transfers are simpler. And the dramatic door geometry, he said, is meant to clear the way for a wheelchair instead of blocking it. And you tell me that this company can't design a truck so that somebody can work it in another continent? Eric also said that Tesla is working on a wheelchair accessible vehicle of the future, aimed at roughly 2% of the people who rely on a wheelchair or face similar mobility limits, calling that unlock a major product opportunity alongside unsupervised robotaxi service. So if they get a vehicle that can handle wheelchairs like by design rather than just being good at it, and I don't know, I guess as Lee was saying, open up the consumer model wise to families, and of course they still have the Model Y retrofits they've been doing, but have paused apparently. This is going to open stuff up. Nevada, which recently cleared Tesla to deploy up to 5,000 robotaxis, remains one of the states watching how robotaxi rules and public testimony collide as Tesla pushes Cybercab towards broader deployment, including the company's exclusive access event in September 3rd, so on September 3rd. And nobody's commented yet. Wow. Lee said mom would have loved getting in and out of the Cybercab for the easy access. She was 4'10". Yeah. Man. And then I like that they said they specifically made the height of the chair match that of a wheelchair. So you're literally just sliding over. That's smart. Okay, that was a sidetrack that I enjoyed. Some of them, I mean, I like most of them, but some of them we probably don't need to make. But that one was good. This is an old one that I had in my browser, just sitting there waiting for us to find it, and it finally is here. Skoda made a bicycle bell that can cut through the ANC headphones, active noise cancellation headphones. Most ANC systems use adaptive filtering like LMS at very basic level. It models the incoming. Interesting that the. I wonder if they did AI for that. It doesn't line up exactly, but it lines up. At a very basic level, it models the incoming noise and generates an anti-phase signal to cancel it. Works best for steady and predictable sounds. Skoda's research found that around 750 to 780 kilohertz, sorry, no, not kilohertz, 750 to 780 hertz, ANC struggles a lot, so they made their bell target this particular frequency. They added irregular transit dual tones that are hard to model in real time. This comes from a dual resonator design, one tuned to 750 to 780 hertz ANC weak spots, utilizing a cantilever tine, and another at higher frequencies at about 2 kilohertz up, like a normal bell. So it's not a single clean tone. So instead of being louder, it's harder to cancel. Pretty neat example of exploiting a system limitations with pure analog design. Look at that. I was hoping they'd have a sample that we could hear in there. They've got paper we can look at, I guess. Let's look at the pictures first. It's right in that weak spot. Boing! There's a biker here. It's a mechanical bell too. I bet it sounds good. Let's find out. I hate fake graphs like this. We'd love to see what the real data looks like. 800 hertz dip came from objective ANC measurement, and the 750 performance that's from subjective viewing. Probably a safety gap, but that qualification does sound like local dip approximately 3 decibels in the attenuation curve, tone in, tone, and mixed signals for the 800 kilohertz band. Also 800 hertz band. 700 to 800 suggested range for penetrating ANC passive isolation. Right now, I just want to hear the thing. Looks like this is the actual line of the dip. Cool. That's pretty cool. Doesn't address the fact that most cyclists are dangerous ones, not the victims. I'd say it's a mixture. There are cyclists out there that are reckless, but I would not say that they are the majority. The irregular part makes sense, but what's behind struggling with a particular frequency? Cost. Probably marketing fluff. Those frequencies are probably only a few percent worse at best. They even measured it, or they already decided what bell they were going to use and pick some arbitrary frequency in that range. Actually, ANC performance doesn't have a dip there. Emergency vehicles should have this type of sound pattern. That's a good idea, Lee. So no bikers can be even bigger butts on the sidewalk. Well, you're not supposed to bike on the sidewalk, so there's that. Instead of doing this, wouldn't it be safer if headphone manufacturers and producers of the vehicle horns and similar devices set up a specific frequency? Yes. Can I buy it? If you wear noise-canceling headphones while moving around, you're a moron. Not if you're walking. That's perfectly legal and fair and something you can do just fine. If you're driving or riding a bike with ANC on, that's a little more sensitive. It may cancel ANC, but does it cancel AMG or even regular car audio insulation? That's a Mercedes joke there. That's pretty cool. Perhaps Skoda can invent cyclists who operate their bikes without needing bells. I want to hear the thing now. Oh. Let's go to Duo Bell. The L-Smart's even smart headphones.
London, a city of 1% of headphones sold have
Actually, not many people
noise-cancelling headphones.
active noise years, and we have a program we
testing hundreds of signals across 6 leading headphones.
Okay, I'm sure that's not what it sounds like.
So the problem with creating the result is Duobell.
We test
You do a lot of talking about it, but you don't play it.
Analog solution to a digital problem.
Real-world tests proved our bells effective.
Okay, so it sounds like a bike bell. Not bad. All right, so back to what we were doing. Now that they tried to music me out of this place. The bike bell. Let's go way up market here for a second. This is way up market. That video has a sample of the dual bell sound. Yep. It did, but I just wish they didn't have a lot of music and stuff along with it. I mean, I get what they were doing, but they should have just had the sample in addition to. All right, so like I said, way up market. The Rolls-Royce Spectre gets a big update, but you wouldn't know it, which is fine because that's exactly what their customers want. The Spectre 2 series gets 18% more WLTP range and 14% faster charging. The Black Spectre is now getting up to 670 horsepower and 811 foot-pounds of torque. The Rolls-Royce has barely changed the exterior, focusing instead on range and response and cabin details. I mean, if you spent $500,000 on a car, do you want to have to go get a new one right away? I don't. And look at it. It looks classy. Range is up by 18%, up to 390 miles WLTP, and the exterior is untouched. Updated the interior with leather finishes, fabrics, and veneers. Yeah. The Lexus LS is dead. Could it return as an all-extra crossover? Maybe later. Okay, then we've got this one here. Our copy link to clipboard. Paste and go. Our Walmart and Iona starting an EV fast charging price war. It sure looks like it. I didn't actually care about the answer. I was like, hey, that's a good question. Answer. If it is, bring it on. How do you disrupt established networks like Tesla and Electrify America? Beat them on price. There you go. And both of them have the backing to make it happen. So bring it. Like I said, we want more competition. So is that, yep, NACS and CCS. I was scrolling down, I was like, oh, it's like a NACS. It looks like a NACS socket. Holster. The new stations get 400 kilowatt Alpatronic chargers, both NACS and CCS plugs, and a 10% discount for Walmart Plus customers. Oh, there you go. And then Iona is using a time-honored tactic to pull traffic away from established giants. Bring it on. Copy link to clipboard. Speaking of range, either adding it or the longer range on a Spectre. Let's look at please and go to the long range Model Y L. The Tesla's new 3-row Model Y is the longest range Model Y tested by Edmunds. Model Y L was put to the test, and despite being heavier and more powerful than the dual motor Model Y, the new 3-row EV drove further. Well, it's got a larger battery, and because it is longer, you can better tune the aerodynamics. Douglas, exactly. More competition is good. Because as consumers, if they have to fight for us, they're going to give us their best. Or at least they're better. And if they're giving us their better, then we win, right? So there we go. Tesla's newest car in the US is the Model Y L. Promises not only more seats than the regular Model Y, but also can deliver. I have a nit to pick there. You can get a 7-seat Model Y on the shorter wheelbase. At least you used to be able to. I don't know if it came back yet or not. I forget because it's all over the place with that. Anyway, 3-row EV debuted at the US last month as with a Tesla estimated range of up to 325 miles. Edmunds tested the car and found that it can drive even further. Nice. And I'm assuming that Edmunds is one of the organizations that doesn't do an EPA style test. They just do a whatever works with traffic. So they're going to be a little faster than the EPA, which is actually kind of cool. During the publication's test, the 2027 Model Y L drove for 358 miles, 10% over the official estimate and more than any other Model Y tested by Edmunds. It's worth noting, however, that the rear-wheel drive Model Y Premium has yet to go through the publication's testing, but when that happens, the Model Y L will likely be dethroned. It depends on how close the Model Y L is with the rear-wheel drive Model Y, because being lighter and better on range and everything, if they have a significant high-speed portion, then the better aerodynamics on the Model Y L will still make a difference. And the tires. For the extra cash, buyers get a larger vehicle, relatively useful 3rd row of seats, and they made other small improvements to the YL, but they all add up to better than expected efficiency. Neato. And that's all I had to say about that one. We're going to copy links to the clipboard, and we're going to look at something a little different. The Fiat Topolino is disrupting the U.S. golf car market. So when I saw this, I was surprised, and then I thought about it some more, and I was like, well, the Fiat Topolino and the Renault Ami are less expensive vehicles, right? They're aiming at that $20,000 or less. And then I was looking at what some of the golf carts that some of these kind of ritzy neighborhoods are using, and especially the ones that have a golf course as part of the neighborhood. You get a whole street legal car for less than some of these golf carts or side-by-side ATVs. Right there. And if you're in France, you can drive it at 14 years old because of the way it's rated. Excuse me. It's less luxury than many of those golf carts, but it's got a crash structure. It's got a service network. Yeah, I thought, looking on it further after seeing that and thinking that it makes sense. Fiat's little mouse is more of a golf cart than a car. It's doing its best to disrupt America's $1 billion golf cart industry. Fiat's adorable Topolino has come to America. Its tiny low-speed quadricycle, that's right, not technically a car, is a huge attention grabber. But if you can't legally drive it on the road, it raises a pretty big question. Where are you supposed to drive it? Or what are you supposed to do with it? It is, after all, something more comparable in size to a mobility scooter than a car. Plus, it's designed for use in European cities to squeeze in between buildings that may have been built between the rain on Charlemagne and not 8-lane highways with SUVs. But Fiat may have found a surprisingly lucrative answer to who may be buying. Turns out the Topolino might just be the next best thing for people who are buying golf carts. In case you didn't know it, America has a pretty big market for golf carts. Annual market is around $1 billion, according to Automotive News, and there are roughly 2.3 million in the U.S. who own one. They're becoming increasingly popular in gated neighborhoods, beach towns, retirement communities, and resorts. Who knew? Fiat initially shipped around 300 units to the U.S. ahead of its official launch in October, after CEO Oliver Francois said that the dealers convinced him to ship some units early. Now those dealerships are already moving the sub $15,000 Fiats, like, well, golf carts. Yeah. Automotive News says that in Florida, Alfa Romeo Fiat of Daytona sold its first 6 Topolinos immediately. In Minnesota, Schemmel's Countryside Alfa Romeo Fiat sold them before they hit the lot. Gaulding Alfa Romeo Fiat in Michigan has sold 10 of its 14 units already and has ordered an additional 9. Nice. In Europe, the appeal of the Topolino is practicality. It gets up to 46 miles of range, can reach speeds of up to 28 miles per hour, and can plug into a normal granny outlet. Since its battery is just 5.4 kilowatt hours, plus in some European countries, teenagers can operate them at just 14 years old, like France. America throws a wrench into that formula a bit. The EV is limited to just 19 miles per hour here. Oh, ouch. Ooh. Why not the full 28? And you can't drive it on public streets without the street legal conversion kit that bumps its top speed up from 19 to 25. Oh, to make more money. From 19 to 25 miles per hour, technically qualifying it as an LSV or a low-speed vehicle, just to keep in mind that it won't have crumple zones or airbags. True. Fiat says this kit will be free and available to buyers in the fall. Oh, okay. Good on you, Fiat, because you could have done the butthole thing and made some money on that. We'll zoom to the comments. I immediately thought of the impact of the U.S. golf cart business. This European import is just the competition the crude, overpriced golf cart market needed. You can easily spend $20,000 on a new one or take a trip to the villages in Florida and buy a used one cheap from a deceased owner's family. True, the U.S. golf cart industry is a joke. The average golf cart with lithium batteries can easily cost $20,000 or more, and it's still a crude joke. Most of the manufacturers were bought out by private equity, which forced more and more manufacturing to China. The quality goes down and the price goes up. Compared to that, the Topolino is a Mercedes. Isn't use as a golf cart what we were saying about a month ago when a similar, if not same vehicle was covered? Edit, it was the same vehicle, different author, and here's my comment from a month ago. This is the right price range for a club car, golf carts, and as mentioned several times in the article, might be a good use for that. Anyone who goes to the beach regularly, 6-seaters are very popular. This is a, 4-seater or 2-seater? But not everybody takes all these people to the beach at the same time. To keep in mind, when a couple's on a big deal when driving on the streets. In my relatively quiet neighborhood, a friend was T-boned in her car by an idiot doing 60 miles per hour at 20. She lives because of seatbelt and airbags. Oh my goodness. Wow. Translation. Wow, Waymo's taking Tesla look foolish. Punish them. I didn't get that from the article, but okay. Scammer. Plenty of LSVs that can and are disrupting the new golf cart market. They'll probably win sales over some UTVs too. Wink and Chip have some good features and okay value. A YouTuber called Phil Edwards has an interesting video and ideas about the villages in Florida and communities like them. LSVs are central to that, but almost all newer communities there are people on golf carts and soon LSVs. Interesting. 7-seat Model Y is currently available. Thank you, Lee. They have so many permutations of Model Y, I've started to lose track. Jacksonville, Florida, Tesla Delivery Service Center did not have a Model Y L on display, which I knew, but I thought I'd look for it since I was there looking at cybercabs. Cool. The golf carts are very popular here in North Toledo, but some have license plates and have slow-moving vehicle signage. Okay, so they have the LSV tags. That's cool. And so these guys would get that LSV kit from Fiat to unlock the extra speed and put bumpers. The golf carts are run on residential streets. Yeah, there's some places around here that are like that too, and I've seen in Florida as well, not just at the villages. Lots of communities have golf cart garages in almost every home. Good point, Lee. And golf cart friendly streets, yes. Some of the ones around here also have big wide paths so that you don't have the bikes or the golf carts out in the street, but also you're not having to worry about an interaction of higher speed bikes and golf carts with pedestrians, people jogging, people walking their dogs. That's pretty nice. I can't see myself doing another HOA. Otherwise, they're really nice looking neighborhoods, except for, again, HOAs. Next up, we've got a different sort of LSV. It didn't have to be LSV. There were no good roads back then. This one is a 100-year-old EV came with more range than the first Nissan Leaf. Look at that. It's a nice catch, though. You better be cool with going slow. I'm not trying to pick on the OG Nissan Leaf. It was a groundbreaking car that brought electrification to the masses before anything else. But it wasn't exactly a long-range EV. It offered a similar range to this nearly 100-year-old EV. The Mercom auctions, according to Mercom auctions, this 1918 Detroit Electric Model 75B that went up for auction during Monterey Car Week had an original range of 80 miles. There are Mark 7 VW e-Golfs that would be happy with that range, but it does come with a caveat, though. The Detroit Electric had a top speed of just 20 miles per hour, so you can assume it wasn't exactly tested on the EPA cycle. True. Built on the Anderson, or by the Anderson Electric Car Company, the Detroit Electric had 42 separate lead-acid batteries, 21 at the front and 21 at the rear, so it was balanced. They had a single 4.28 horsepower electric motor mounted under the floor that sent power to the rear differential, and this specific example was a bit different, though, because it had been fitted with modern batteries. There's no word on its range with the newer batteries, but I'd imagine quite a bit more. I wonder if they also upped the speed. It's pretty odd inside, though. That's seating for four with a bench on one side and two individual seats across from it. However, it looks like the driver sits on the left side of the bench with a steering tiller and two pedals in front of them, and one at the base of their seat. It's operated by the driver's heel. Looks like somebody can sit directly in the driver's line of sight, which probably isn't the best. It looks cozy, though. Oh, imagine if she had a hat on. I say she because, they sold electric cars as ladies' cars. So you get your lady friends together with you. You're going out doing whatever you're doing, and one of them's got a big old hat. Thelma, remove your hat. We're inside. It also looks as though somebody can sit directly in the driver's seat. It looks cozy, though. Cushy fabric seats and curtains for the rear windows. A big greenhouse and lots of tall glass. Doesn't Jay Leno have one of these? Sure, it can only do 20 miles per hour. It's just too slow for most low-speed vehicle rules in the U.S. But I bet it's a blast to drive. Instant electric torque is something that old must be fun, even if it tops out quickly. It also looks spectacularly vintage. The black and burgundy two-tone scheme looks lovely with those old-school wire wheels, are fantastically old-school. There's some modern bicycles with wider wheels and tires than this thing has. Such a cool vibe. This looks wonderfully well restored. Yeah, definitely a tiller. Wow. This thing must have been mind-blowing back in its day. Smooth, quiet motoring without the smells of pre-catalytic converter engines and no difficult cranking. Now it's probably the easiest classic car to drive from that era for all of those same reasons. Although it might be wise for its next owner to swap out its motor to one that can give a top speed of at least residential speeds. That's really kind of cool. It's ironic that the electric starter is the big reason the electric car died the first time. Mm-hmm. Claire Ford had one instead of a gasser made by her husband, Henry. I read that she did establish some distance records in it. Oh, cool. And it is in excellent condition in the Ford Museum, only needing a charge to run again. So modern EVs that can last over 100 years too. Neato. Super Hi-Fi guy says, This is untrue on its face. Drive the Detroit Electric and a Leaf side by side, and it'll be very clear which has more range. Yeah, 20 miles an hour, but sticker to sticker. Come on, guys. There's lots of EV news out there. This is just dumb. I thought it was fun. My bicycle has more range than this. There's a catch, though. You better be cool with going slow and pedaling. But your bicycle cannot carry 3 passengers on a comfortable seats and under a roof. It may be slow, but it's safer. Given the state of many of the roads, even in cities at the time, 20 miles per hour is pretty scary. Mm-hmm. Also, a Leaf would have double the range at 20 miles per hour. EV sold many speed records back then. Walter Baker, who owned Baker Motor Vehicle Company, and another electric car manufacturer, was probably the first person to hit 80 miles per hour in the Baker Torpedo Kid in 1903. He was also the first to use seat belts and called it a seat harness, and was the first to apply aerodynamics to an automobile decades before it was recognized in science. Or was a recognized science. That looks so steampunk, minus the steam. Scammer. Detroit. As all major cities at the time, yes, Detroit was once a major city. It was, and I think it still kind of is. It's had its days, though. Ripe for a comeback. Had maximum speed limits of 12 miles per hour in the business and downtown areas. So you could get to almost double the speed limit in this car. That's nifty. Within the 1 mile circle and 15 miles per hour outside of it. Okay, so Americans have always wanted to be able to go faster than the speed limit, then if the roads allowed it. And on parks and boulevards based on a Detroit ordinance from around 1913. And that was still in effect in 1918. So a top speed of 20 was more than enough. Folks need to view items and stipulations relative to when they came about for any form of comparison. I think that deserves the respect. So how long will the electric motor in my 2011 Leaf last? 100 years? New battery tech already proving useful. Longevity of over 10 years of regular use. Looks like when I eventually purchase next FSD solid-state battery EV vehicle, I should keep the Leaf and use it as an air-conditioned all-weather golf cart and will it to my grandchildren. So he brought the whole golf cart thing full circle with us. Neato. All right, what's next on our list? We've gone old. Let's go super new and super fast from super slow, huh? Let's take a look at this one. I'm gonna copy link to clipboard, paste this in here. We're gonna sip some cranberry juice. All right, looks like the X Spaces is still doing good. Tesla's flying Roadster may debut this month alongside a street legal version. We'll see. How many times have we been told this, Lee? Four times we've been told about officially? We'll see. Tesla is preparing to showcase the next-gen Roadster as early as this month, per a new report. It'll be a flying car with SpaceX-developed technology. The demo vehicle will be remotely operated due to the noise and force of the SpaceX thrusters. Tesla's decade-long promise to reveal the next-generation Roadster may finally become a reality this month. The second-generation Roadster won't just be a road car. It could also feature technology designed to help fly. So the fact they have to operate it remotely tells us that part is still just a prototype, and I think that's fair, given that they previously said they would use COPVs to do it, and their luck with the COPVs lately. The Roadster could be equipped with SpaceX-developed cold gas thrusters, according to the information paywall reported on Friday, citing 3 people familiar with the matter. Tesla is expected to showcase the car's capabilities at an event at SpaceX's testing facility in McGregor, Texas, as early as this month. The Roadster will reportedly be remote operated during the demonstration because of the noise and force demonstrated by the SpaceX thrusters. Tesla also is expected to show off two versions of the car, a standard Roadster and a limited edition model equipped with the SpaceX technology. The limited edition model, however, reportedly won't be street legal and could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. Well, hundreds of thousands of dollars we expected, because the minimum price was $250,000 10 years ago. So And the millions, I wouldn't doubt if it's SpaceX package is not street legal and they only make a couple of them, they might be going for profits on that one. August 11, 2026. We were promised flying cars, and what we got is infinite superintelligence for everyone. Musk says, you will get flying cars. We'll see. Hey, look, it's Musk in an original Tesla Roadster. The first unveiled the second-gen Roadster in 2017, but the car's launch has been delayed several times since. A couple of years ago, CEO Elon Musk said the company had changed the Roadster's design goals. Tonight, we radically increased the design goals for the new Roadster, Musk said in 2024 on a post on X. There will never be another car like this, if you could even call it a car. The original Roadster, which launched in 2008 as the first series production, street-legal electric cars, helped prove that EVs could drive long distances, deliver impressive performance, and be highly desirable in their own right. It is now an icon with its legacy pretty much cemented in history and in space. This is the one he launched, right? The one in space was the red one. Because he kept the black one. Neato. Tesla was still a scrappy EV startup at the time, but the Roadster and the mass market models that followed helped turn it into a $1 trillion EV giant that it is today. All right, let's look at these comments. So it would be like FSD. They will sell it, but it won't actually FSD. A decade later, it'll still be repeating. By the end of the year, it'll actually fly for the next decade or decades. What clever names will they come up with to indicate it actually can't fly while calling it a flying car? Tesla, not a flying car. Flying car, however, not actually complete. Flying car, beta. Flying car, supervised. It's not actually flying from a distance. I think it's going to hop. Where are you getting all this flying stuff? Did you read the article? From Elon's post saying we'll get a flying car. It's inconvenient that he posted it for those trying to minimize his growing insanity. You don't think we're getting a flying car? Seems several companies are already developing them. China's got one. Brian saw it when he was overseas. The old saying goes, when pigs fly. There's a lot of unification there, respect. There was pearls before swine strip the other day where a pig found a genie in a bottle and wished that he could fly. He found himself on a plane. I can't believe how irresponsibly this is written. It will be a flying car, just like Elon said, but no, it won't, because strapping SpaceX rockets to a car makes them unusable for humans. It's not going to be rockets. Cold gas thrusters. Since they can't possibly sell the flying version, the street legal version is the car. If you're going to report on news, report on actual facts. You missed the reference. Flying car is a running joke. Of course, the flying car comment was a joke, but now the joke is even better because apparently they built the car that can technically fly, even if it is utterly useless. No one ever took a flying car joke seriously. All right. Technically, the first generation of Roadster is a flying already. I don't know if you call that flying, but yeah, it's out there. One of them is in orbit around the sun and will be for the next few billion years. This was never intended to be serious. Every Tesla stand website took flying car statement seriously. We have a couple of yuckers, I guess, years. I don't know what he's trying to say there. Articles about it. It wasn't a joke. It was more like Musk pumping the stock. Lies. I hope Musk keeps lying about the flying Roadster so that when it doesn't happen, Musk can be rightfully pilloried. I think he insinuated himself from being called a liar by becoming a trillionaire. He's just eccentric. The eccentric trillionaire. I wonder what would happen if he'd put the Roadster on sale before he revealed himself to be the world's as a huge jerk. Interesting. There would have been a ton of Roadsters driving around with bumper stickers that read, I bought this before. It's not a Roadster. It should be called the Tesla sedan or generally Tesla coupe, but not a Roadster. Roadster only has 2 seats and has an open top. Well, the original Roadster had the open top. I didn't realize that a Roadster couldn't have rear seats. I just thought it had to be 2 doors and open top. I might have to look that up. We'll see. Lee might look it up before I get to it. Where's Guru idea? Megalomania a cruel mistress. You have no idea how to run a business. They spent years on a PR stunt you can't buy. I don't understand, but I know some people with reservations, they will buy anything Tesla's selling. There are some out there. 1.9 seconds 0 to 60 was allegedly with the rockets. So the one you can buy will probably be 2.7 or something. Yang Mang already ate it, and it will take a bigger bite soon. Yeah, but if you could do 1.9 with the rockets, and was it 2.3 with the Plaid, and 2.8 with my bus, I wouldn't put the base model out. I would not. Why does these two have the same logo? Article graphic. Either way, copy link to the clipboard, paste and go. We're looking at, I don't know what we're looking at. It's loading. Copy link to the clipboard. Incentive programs for Tesla semis in California. Clean truck and bus voucher incentive program. The HVIP gives you $120,000 off each semi for up to 20 trucks. No scrapping required. Applications reopen upon delivery. Oh, cool. California Clean Fuel Rewards. CCFR gives you an additional $120,000 off each semi, so no max truck purchase limit and no scrapping required. Stacking allowed with HVIP for small fleets only, starting tomorrow. That was, what day was this? June 25th. So if there's still spots left, you get yourself a basically free Tesla semi for your operation there, if you're in California. Wow. I wouldn't be surprised to see the first 100 delivered to a California freight companies. Holy incentive, this is amazing. Sure makes up for the upfront price. Just makes too much sense to not to be putting these in your fleet. It's so dumb not to buy Tesla semi. Use my code. A Tesla semi for my family minivan, yeah. All right. Does that mean I could buy a truck and start a business? You probably should start the business and then buy the truck, but yeah. This next one, not the one we're about to type it now, but this next one, I'm copying the clipboard now. It's interesting. Anish says, France already made this law. Any car park with 80 or more spaces has to cover half of it with solar panels, or pay a fine of 50 euros per space every month. Wow. That'll make you fix it even if you built it the wrong way. The government said it could add as much power as 10 nuclear reactors. The hard part is building it. Carrefour, a French supermarket chain, is putting solar roofs over 180,000 of its parking spaces, enough to power the stores below. Disneyland Paris has covered its main lot, which fits 11,200 cars. One car factory parks its staff under 64,000 panels that run about a third of the plant. The reason people want this is land. If the U.S. copied France, its parking lots could hold 800 gigawatts of solar. The whole U.S. grid runs on about, it's a weird punctuation, 1144 of something. Gigawatts? Terawatts? 1.144 terawatts? I don't know. A Yale study found that car parks in Connecticut could power more than a third of the state on their own. It's all the people who say we don't have enough land. I knew Lee would get me. Look at that, Lee. Thank you. A Merriam-Webster says an automobile with an open body and two seats that has a folding, retractable, or removable top, and often a luggage compartment or rumble seat in the rear. Okay, so if it has the extra seats, they class as like rumble seats, but then the extra two seats doesn't discount it. Okay. Thank you. Then comes the cost. Putting panels in a field is cheap because they sit on simple metal racks near the ground. Putting them over car part means a custom steel roof strong enough to stand over moving cars and hold up in high wind, built without closing the lot. Yeah. At that scale, a car park costs about $3.20 a watt. Same panels in the field cost close to $1.90. But that leaves the field open. We have so much wasted space in the modern world for parking that, yes, it does cost more to do it correctly. But I get what France is going for here. The price gap is why the rules keep getting weaker. France softened its own law in 2025, letting owners plant shade trees instead, though the biggest lots are still due by 2026 and the rest by 2028. The UK studied the idea for a year and then dropped it in May of 26 once it found that fitting an 80-car space would cost around £140,000 and save about £28,000 a year. The picture is right about one thing. Car parks really are the smarter place for solar. No farmland used up, shade for your car, and power made right where it is needed. The catch is that the smarter spot to build is also the more expensive one, which is why fields keep getting chosen. Clarkson Farm says, don't cover our fields, cover our car parks. Agreed. Excuse me. Thanks for reading. Follow me at there. The more interesting question is why new homes are built without solar roofs. I'll tell you why they're not built with Tesla solar roofs later in the show. Solar is so cheap now, we're building a vacation home. It has utility power on the property, but the utility wanted $15,000 to hook it up with a meter pole. For about $2,000, we installed a 12 kilowatt inverter charger and 10 kilowatt hours of battery and 1 kilowatt of solar panels. And expansion is easy. People are not yet hungry enough to realize their mistake. By the time they feel the pangs, it will be too late. So the UK dropped it because a 5-year payback on an asset with a 25-year lifespan. That doesn't sound like a driver to me. The UK dropped it because it takes 5 years to break even, after which one makes profit. Doesn't make any sense. This example, 5 years, also sounds optimistic, but I don't really know. It may be expensive in the short term, but 5 years down the line, that investment would have been recouped through cuts in power expenses. In the long run, it's cheaper. So apparently all these people can do math, and the UK, well, we've seen the UK can't do math, so I'm going to leave it there. And we're going to go on to the next one. We're talking about freedom or freeness, free pricing. So the PlugShare has a filter on their new app. You open the map, you scroll to quick filters, you tap free. Now you're only seeing charging stations that cost nothing. It stays on until you tap it off. So if the map looks empty later, that's why you're in a zone of paid charging. How to find free charging on the PlugShare app? Swipe to learn now. Step 1 from the map, find quick filters. Step 2, scroll to the right to the free filters. Note, all filters toggled on will stay on until toggled off. I do like that though, when I am filtering on either a charging speed or a charging block, that it stays that way until I need to filter it again. A few caveats. Speed. Most free charging is level 2 charging. Time limits. Some locations may be free for the first 30 minutes before switching to paid. Access. Some locations may be free, but access to the parking structure may be paid. Unknown pricing. While most charging under the free filter is indeed free, a small percentage of locations have unknown pricing. Always look at the check-ins before you visit. It's a smart move to check it out. Make sure it's still there. Make sure it's not broken. Dark mode, please. My eyes. Affliction is coming later this year. Yes. All right, so copy this link. This brought me back to code we spotted back in 2024, in which the Tesla app, we were seeing new theater sources get added. Now, oddly, most of these are no longer in the current version of the app, but that's why we keep archives, so we can look back at this stuff. Those were the theater sources back in 2024. Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, BET, Billy, Comedy Central, Crunchyroll, Disney, Disney, Douyin, HBO Go, HBO Max, HBO Now. Now it's just HBO Max again. Hulu, iQIYI, KTV, Kyushu, Mango TV, Monty Python, Movies Anywhere, MTV, Netflix, Nick Jr., Paramount Network, Plex, Pluto TV, Red Bull TV, Tencent, Tesla Tutorials, TikTok, TV Land, Twitch, VH1, VRV, YouTube, and Youku. Today I learned that if you go to the Apple TV website in the Tesla browser, it will open up an actual Apple TV app, fully functional, not just the site. Apparently there are more apps that than just the few shown on the apps page. I thought you guys might like to know that. Lee says, oh, hey, Anders, good to see you. Good evening from Stockholm, Sweden at 21:53 in the evening. And Highlander says, hey, Anders. And Lee says, a couple of free charging locations showing in Savannah, Georgia. Closest ones, according to PlugShare. The free filter works. Glad it does, and I'm glad that there are still some free stations down there. Neato. I smell noodle soup. Or vegetables. She's making noodle soup. Let me see the oldest video of Tesla self-driving that you have. Wow. Mine is not that old. That is pretty old. Go on, other Omar. While we wait for the next page to load up. This one is labeled critical disengagement on FSD. And my wife and I had a wince, physical, like, ugh, when we saw this. I think you might as well. Take a look. Lee Moon says, hey, Anders. Critical disengagement on FSD 14.3.7. Context, the car needed to leave the parking garage to get to the HEB. It started from the second floor, made its way to the top floor. I believe it tried to find a path through this metal wire fence. It had gone through that. This was a 6-story drop to the ground. In the dashcam clip, it's clearly visible. You can see that the car is at 4 miles per hour through the whole turn and is not slowing down. It wasn't even trying to park because the route was set to leave the parking garage, not to park in it. Either way, driving at 4 miles per hour inches through the fencing is not okay. I have an interior GoPro recording the whole situation. It actually tried to drive through the fencing again after I restarted FSD in the thread. So when he restarted FSD in the thread, I was like, whoa, I would not. You guys will see in a second. Obviously, I disengaged, but what we don't know is what it truly would have done. I would not have let it find out. Maybe it would have made contact and stopped. That was as far as I was willing to take it as someone responsible for the vehicle. So I believe this disengagement was fair. I was not expecting something like this, as the latest versions of FSD are exceptionally safe. Highlander says, I finished an apple pie. Add ramen noodle soup. Yes. Okay, so the reason the guy was recording this was because he wanted to see how the car got out of the garage, because the last couple times it went up instead of out. Here we go. Let me pause it real quick. I said let me pause it real quick. Stupid computer. All right, let's get back here. Let's make this thing big. Oof. Gave me chills just watching it. It's like, where the hell are you going, car? He's like, no. I don't blame him. Because that was just the dashcam clip. Later in the thread, we see his GoPro clip. Here. I said pause at X. It's like this thing tried to kill me. And they hit it again. I would not have hit it again. Huh. What? Again? I didn't see this part of it last night. Wow. Or whenever I put it in the notebook. Goodness gracious. Twice. Yeah, that's what I would just drive it manually out of there, because it ain't getting it. Wow. Goodness gracious. Lee says, before it's soup time. Correction, sun glare on the Juniper Y, very slight dash reflection on the noonish hours. AC bright part at the top of the windshield, just below the headliner. All right. Although my auto insurance just went down another $200, 6-month term on the Model Y. Sweet. Interior recording screen. Anyway, see how close the car visualization's bumper is to the metal wire fencing after the time of disengagement. After start FSD again, it reverses, meaning it knows it's not a path. I just don't understand why it didn't show any signs of slowing down twice. Full raw context video from the initial start of FSD heading to HEB to the apartment, from the apartment. Skips the end for disengagements. It was worth noting that at 5:24 mark, it does something similar, but you can see it slow down and realize it's not the way. Lee says, my typical honey-baked ham run was perfect. Parked where I normally do, and it picked me up curbside with summon. Sweet. I need to get my parking sensor fixed so I get my summon back in time for 14 light. Chris, Dirty Tesla says, I like all of the preemptive defending of your experience because you know people will somehow defend FSD with this. It's true though. Lee said, hey, ham Sammy and chocolate cookies for lunch. Sweet. I need to see about having a veggie ham sandwich again because I think the ham one was pretty good last time. Sorry to see this. I'm not surprised since parking garages haven't been great at all. I never use FSD inside of them unless I'm experimenting or filming. Something anyone who says we're really close, that it's a matter of nines. Robotaxis is ready for mass expansion or autonomous cybercab is imminent and soon pending is lying and should not be trusted. Don't get me wrong, it's a wonderful supervised software, but it's obvious that something needs to change in a big way to allow for unsupervised. Okay, you're really brave. I'd have disengaged sooner. Yeah, same. Maybe it would have stopped, but maybe best not to test it out. Weird as it knew there was a wall or something in the path as it shows up in orange. Like you said, it's also weird that it didn't show itself slowing down. Hopefully they can take this as training data and fix it. John Wintley says, oh my, parking garages never go well for me in FSD. Yeah, it wasn't going well from the start because it went up the parking garage instead of down to the exit. I only recorded to see if it could figure out where the exit was. All right, so from there, we've got that FSD experience, and then we've got another one right after it here. This one did not end as nicely as this first one did. Fair warning. We're going to face and go. And then we're going to work the pause button. I guess we're not going to work the pause button. We'll just make it bigger. So as you saw, vehicle is on FSD. Self-driving is lit up. It's in drive. Boom! And then he hits the brake, and it's no longer in FSD at that point. But at this point, he's already run over a tree. So, I don't know. Flashes on, 0 miles per hour. Self-driving, 33. I don't know if he could see that, but clearly the car could see that. All right, so now that we've seen that, because the player is just messing with me today, this isn't acceptable at this point. This is bad. FSD 14 Lite drives straight over log. Seriously, if you have a 14 Lite, please be careful. So many people gave me crap about talking about the problems with 14 Lite. Why do they want to hide their heads in the sand and ignore the videos that are out there showing the issues? This is coming from Lincoln. This isn't acceptable at this point. Somehow 14 Lite took major steps back. So honestly, isn't a good look. The problem is that those of us using FSD for years have become familiar with it and will have basic expectations of its capabilities. Running into something like this hasn't been around for a long time and is really out of the ordinary. But this is the second video in 2 days. Not so out of the ordinary with 14 Lite. The weird thing about this video is, why is there an old dead log laying in the middle of the road? I'm guessing because it's storming and it just fell down. Now look at the rain there. It doesn't look like it was there all that long. Obviously, he should have taken over. However, how many times have people said they don't pay attention anymore? A lot. You should be paying attention, especially in cases where we're in a situation where the car is at a disadvantage, like rain and other places where they would shut down the robotaxi network. So if they won't run robotaxi there, then you really need to be supervising. In the end, this is 100% the fault of the driver. They are supposed to be supervising. Our cars are not unsupervised, but it is still surprising that FSD wouldn't avoid this. I don't really trust 14 Lite from what I've seen. I trust 14.3.x with my life. I don't know. I haven't experienced it yet. And then I said, I'd still expect mine to hit this, but Yeah, something like this. It'd probably try and avoid most of the time for several revisions now. My car was always slowing down for things that weren't hazardous. FSD 14 or FSD 14 Lite is still supervised as is stated. The owner posted the videos in the comments. He said he was on his phone and trusted the car. In the middle of a rainstorm. Ugh. Even if Tesla one day says that it is unsupervised, nothing in this world is 100%. I would leave 1% doubt above one day something will go wrong. Yeah, they didn't say there are going to be zero crashes. They just said there are going to be a lot less of them. Lee says, Elon or Tesla mentioned mitigating regressions is going to be focused going forward. Thank goodness. Yeah, oof, we're going to need them. I still have 100% critical disengagements in at least 2 locations in my area. One has been reported for more than a year. I'm in at least in the last 9 area. Yeah, you are, baby. I need to tag Tesla on these reports. And so he did. And Lincoln said they see them. No matter what FSD you're using, vision will be impaired by bad weather. Unsupervised or supervised FSD will always need someone to pay attention. Driver messed up. Lisa says, yep, that's bad. I wonder if she still got her old Model X like me. Alpha Fox says FSD 12 will probably hit it too, but 14 is bad. Bad, but still unsupervised. Supervised is that. It also shows 14 Lite. All the video shows someone not paying attention to the road conditions, unfortunate obstacles, sucks, but 14 Lite or otherwise is still supervised. Hopefully the damage isn't too severe, but I imagine this isn't the case. So, just wanted to put that one out there after the warning about the regular V14 trying to jump off a bridge. Let's go to something a little less scary. Let's look at some electricity in Panama City, Florida. Lee, you may have seen this one. I think it's nearby a station I'd made a video on in the past. This is a V4, I assume. I didn't check the rating. Let's do that next. Panama City, Florida. It's 8 stalls. Because I see 8 stalls and no switchgear is why I assumed that it might be a real V4, like V4 native, because it's it's new and it's 8. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this link and we're going to go find out. Because I must. Paste and go. MrSupercharger.com, baby. All right, Tesla location number 269. Oh, they changed it from a location to a... Tesla wants to know your location. You don't need to know my location, Tesla. Panama City, up to 325 max. Oh, it's not a V4. It's a V3 Plus. Okay, I'm glad I checked. NACS adapter needed for non-Tesla EVs. Charging fees for Tesla owners, the base rate is 39 cents per kilowatt hour. Charging fees for all other EVs is 54 cents per kilowatt hour. Access hours is 24/7. There we go. This one I don't normally cover their hiring, but something about it just spoke to me a little bit. Looking to hire a core UI design team at Tesla, hiring a motion designer and a UI designer. Hard requirement to be on site in sunny Los Angeles, California. This is a rare opportunity to join our small, nimble, and highly impactful team that works on all vehicle software. Please DM or apply online if interested. And if you DM, please include a link to your portfolio. Staff UI designer and a motion designer. Can't DM you if you don't follow me. Aloha. Just to clarify, the on-site requirement is firm for both the motion designer and UI designer. I think it was. That's why it was in the article. Yes. Hi, baby. Ooh, it's hot. Little soup. Hi, baby. Yeah. She's making this weird smile at me. You looking at me on the camera? Okay, so we got that. It spoke to me for some reason. It was weird. Now, I've been promising this all show. The demise of the Tesla solar roof. Tesla discontinues the solar roof tiles. That's not economically viable. Zing! Shock Pikachu face. All good and well, but very cost prohibitive. You don't say. They're pretty dollar for dollar, but what an absolute waste of money, because it's like basically buying a gold chain for your house. New solar. Each solar roof is just a mini solar panel in disguise. Kids got this coloring book today at Tesla event. Oops. My own business developed a solar slate in 2009. We ended sales in 2016 for the very same reasons. High cost and lower output only made them suitable for very special applications like listed buildings. Not economically viable. Didn't know the project was still alive. I'll give you that. Just another example of an Elon scam. Overprice, underdeliver, repeat and move on. Spooling up production line rapidly, hoping to manufacture 1,000 solar roofs by the end of the year. He's late, but he always delivers. 6 months, maybe 1 year, definitely. How many lives are we at now? Group photo of all the Americans helped by. Anyway, moving on to the rest of this, because it's not done yet. We got articles on it now. What? No articles? All right, we'll use Fred's article then. Copy link. Paste and go. I think really what I smell is when she's got the broccoli going. I don't think I can smell the carrots. Discontinued solar roof tile roofing product. Electric has learned. The company has told third-party installers that it will no longer supply solar roof tiles going forward. Only solar panels, according to two sources close to the program. Two sources confirmed the end of the solar roof. Two solar sources close to the program have confirmed to Electric that Tesla has informed its network of certified third-party installers that the solar roof tiles are no longer available to order. That the company will supply only conventional solar panels going forward. One of the sources said internally Tesla had concluded that the product is not financially viable. Tesla's own website corroborates the wind down. The company's long-standing solar roof page, tesla.com/solar roof, now redirects to tesla.com/solar panels, and solar roof has been removed entirely from the energy navigation menu, which today lists only solar panels, Powerwall, and Megapack. The changes were live as of today. Tesla Solar Roof Tiles website redirects to the solar panels page. The move formalizes a retreat that has been visible for years. Tesla stopped breaking out solar roof deployment figures in its quarterly reports in early of 24, and the product itself had all but disappeared from the company's marketing. The product built to sell the Solar City merger. Tesla Solar Roof was never just a product, it was a pitch. Elon Musk unveiled in October of 16 on a Hollywood backlot using homes from the set of Desperate Housewives fitted with the tiles. Weeks later, Tesla's shareholders voted to approve the company a roughly $2.6 billion acquisition of Solar City, a debt-laden solar installer where Musk was the largest shareholder and chairman, which was run by his cousins. Solar Roof Demo was central to sealing the deal to investors who were being asked to bail out a struggling company with deep ties to Tesla CEO. Years later, during shareholder litigation over the acquisition, it emerged that the tiles shown at the 2016 event were not yet functioning solar panel products. Nearly a decade on, the roof that helped justify the merger is being shelved. Prices ballooned far beyond the pitch. The original promise was Tesla marketed the solar roof as costing less than a new conventional roof plus solar panels combined, with early quotes in the neighborhood of $22 per square foot. Pause right there. There were some tweets on it further down that list that I would stop scrolling through. This building that I'm sitting in right now, our quote for the Tesla solar roof was something like $280,000. We didn't buy the structure for anything near that amount. So more than double the price of the house would have been in the roof. No, thank you. And we already had solar on it, so it would have been throwing away solar to make it happen. I vacationed in Panama City Beach, Florida years ago. Such a great place to stay. Beautiful beaches. Stayed there for a month. I keep thinking of going back there. Glad to see the superchargers there. Andrews has hot dog, sausages with bread. Dinner is baked sausage with cheese, ketchup, mustard, and potatoes. There you go. That sounds good, Anders. Chicken noodle soup is my favorite from Honey Baked Ham. Not always available, but always worth it when it is. So yummy. Yeah, mine is just broccoli and carrots and ramen noodles. I'm considering having a pergola installed on our small deck right at my sunroom, but with solar on it. Yes. This place had a pergola on it when at some point it was permitted already. I'd like to get solar on that because the bifacial panels, they give a right amount of shade and light permissivity. Mine is a Nissan Deme ramen beef. Hey, they make a good one. Checking my sugar real quick. Oh yeah. Good move. Oh. Okay, reality diverged sharply as prices came in far higher than the original initial figures, and for many customers, far higher than the quotes Tesla itself had provided in 2020. Oh, that's right. Some people got theirs, and it went even higher than. Oh yeah, I remember that one. Like I got like a 40% bump after they put the roof on. In some cases, after they'd already signed contracts. That triggered class action lawsuits, and Tesla settled for $6 million in 2023. One customer's contracted price reportedly jumped from $72,000 to roughly $146,000 before installation. The $1,000 a week, the $1,000 a week promise that never came. Yeah, that's never. The economics never scaled, and neither did the volume. Musk repeatedly said Tesla will be producing and installing 1,000 roofs per week, a target they had pinned to the end of 2019 and first half of 2020. When Tesla claimed it had reached 1,000 roofs weekly production in 2020, installations lagged far behind. At its peak, Tesla was installing roughly 21 to 32 solar roofs per week, according to Wood Mackenzie data, more than 95% short of the goal. In total, the firm estimated that Tesla installed only about 3,000 solar roof systems in the U.S. across roughly 7 years. Oh my goodness. And we've been tracking the widening gap between solar roof's promise and reality. The product quietly slid towards irrelevance. Tesla's pivot to conventional panels is now complete. The company has leaned into standard rooftop solar paired with Powerwall, and Musk has talked up plans for large-scale U.S. solar manufacturing panels, not tiles. Electric's take is that this one's a bummer. I was genuinely excited about. I've seen a couple of solar roofs in person. They are beautiful, and Musk wasn't kidding when he said, "Oh yeah, we're going to take people over to show you your roof." Yes, they will, but the rest of it never happened. The concept made real sense to me. A new construction, or anyone who needed a new roof anyway, wanted to fold solar into it, and an integrated solar roof is a genuinely appealing product. You're replacing the roof regardless, so why not make it generate power and skip the racking and panels look a lot of people don't want? It obviously wasn't as easy. A lot of engineering work went into making the product last long enough as both a roof and energy producing asset, while also keeping the interconnection simple enough that the installation wasn't too labor intensive. But like several other Tesla products, full self-driving, Tesla jumped the gun and sold something that wasn't fully baked. The vision announced was years before the product could actually deliver on it, and the pricing swung wildly, and customers who signed up on the early promise got burned. The core problem is that the economics never got there between manufacturing complexity, labor-intensive install, and the shading limitations of the tiles. The solar roof only ever penciled out on very expensive homes when the buyer wasn't especially price sensitive. Top comment was, it was inevitable. It's another overhyped failure. Bad thermal issues too. Too expensive to install. Niche market and difficult and expensive to repair, etc. Continuing on the electric stake, I also heard horror stories of post-installation servicing, as homeowners sometimes waited months without their expensive solar systems producing any power. And that's why I keep saying, like, if you have a choice between Tesla solar, Tesla energy products from a third party and getting them from Tesla themselves, I would probably get them from the third party with the Tesla logo on them, you know. Because you have somebody you can call up and yell at. Not that I'm much of a yeller, but Andrew says Kacey now has a food stream. That's right, baby. Oh. Come lunch with me. Let's see. If you have more information about the solar roof tile program, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to learn more about where it went wrong. It would be a great debrief on this. Also, it's also important to note that this is not a bad look on solar. No, it's not. Economic solar panels installed on a roof, I got some, have nothing to do with Tesla solar roof tiles. And depending on your roof and electricity rates, it can make sense for many people. Furthermore, competing solar shingle options are now available. That's true, they are. I wonder how popular they are in comparison to Teslas. Well, they don't look as good as Teslas. If their pricing is better, then they might survive it. Lunch with Kacey and Friends. That's right, baby. Let's have a lunch chat. We got a Tesla recall here. This one is a physical recall in China, combined with a over-the-air software update recall, also in China, for the same recall. Here we go. Tesla recalls nearly 3 million vehicles in China over emergency door releases. Share this tab instead. Tesla is issuing a recall for nearly 3 million vehicles in China to adjust safety concerns regarding interior emergency door releases. The measure covers 2.98 million China-built Model 3 and Y vehicles, marking the automaker's largest recall in the country to date. The recall centers on manual door release. And before we continue on, this is not just Tesla. Everybody else who has flush door handles in China also got this recall. But I didn't have their recalls to talk about, so we're talking about Tesla's recall here. The recall centers on manual door releases that sit flush with interior door trim, making them difficult for passengers to locate and operate during power failures or post-crash emergencies. To fix the issue, Tesla will provide free physical warning labels to clearly identify manual release locations. The automaker will also send over-the-air updates designed to automatically roll down the windows during following a collision, giving occupants an additional route to escape. Fixes for the door releases are scheduled to begin on September 25th of 26. A separate overlapping software recall will update the driver attention monitoring systems of 2.74 million Model 3 and Model Y vehicles using cabin cameras. The action forms part of a broader push by Chinese market regulators affecting over 7 million vehicles across multiple brands. Interesting. So 7 million of them, but Tesla got 3 of them. they got the bulk of it for sure. Regulators have tightened the EV standards ahead of the national ban on hidden door handles set to take effect in 2027. No comments on this one. SpaceX's 100 Falcon launches in 26 with the California Starlink mission. That's cool. SpaceX will wind down Falcon when Starship hits weekly flights, says Musk. I mean, we knew that would happen. Let's go back to the tweets. I think they have pictures of it there. Oh man, it doesn't matter that I switched back. They jumped on my list. Don't be jumping my list. I was reading. Okay. I do have. If this one doesn't have it, I've got a picture of the stickers. Okay, then we talked about the Nevada. That was one of our sidetracks. Copy link to clipboard, paste and go. I'm glad I saved this one separately because it would have been lost to time. Go ahead and close that other one so there were no comments on it. So the stickers are not just stickers. Look at that. They're a vinyl wrap. It's not enough to have a mechanical backup for your electronic handles. It also has to be easy to spot in an emergency. And so this is what the recall is. It's just they say stickers, but I don't see why not just replace the buttons entirely. It's almost time to say goodbye to range anxiety. Geely is testing a solid-state battery with over 621 miles of range. That's a good sidetrack, given how long Toyota's been dragging us around with freaking solid-state battery promises. Take something that worked perfectly for 100 years and replace it for no reason with something that's going to fail your family when a life and death situation. Automakers. I think that's a bit much. Copy image link, paste and go. And obviously not too much because China agreed with her. Him, them, China agreed with them. Why did it do that? I didn't just want a bigger picture. I wanted the article. Fine, we'll do it your way. There we go. Chinese regulators recall millions of EVs because their mechanical door handles are too hard to find. China's State Administration for Market Regulation, SAMR, says that some interior door handle releases are too close in color to the rest of the vehicle trim, making them too hard to use in an emergency. The recall affects millions of vehicles, including 2.98 million Teslas. China has set specific standards for door handles, banning hidden electronic ones that do not have an obvious mechanical backup, starting in 2027. Hidden electric door handles have rightfully gotten a bad rap as of late. All across the globe, consumers are starting to realize that they've had enough. And while governments have expressed concerns about safety risks, China, the world's largest market when it comes to EVs and PHEVs, has experienced the brunt of this. Concerns so great that the country has outright banned hidden door handles and electronic door handles that have no obvious mechanical backup from 2027 onward. But the country hasn't stopped there either. Out of an abundance of caution, China has instituted a recall for current vehicles on the road. SAMR there has recalled millions of vehicles because the interior releases aren't easy to find in an emergency. The recall affects 3 million, or nearly 3 million Tesla sold in China, but also hundreds of thousands of Chinese domestic models that use similar design as Tesla, such as BYD, Geely, Xiaomi, BAIC, Leapmotor, Chery, FAW, Xpeng, and FAW are all part of the same recall. The agency asserts that the emergency release labels are too close in color to the rest of the vehicle trim, which makes them hard to operate in an emergency. And this isn't entirely unprecedented either. In modern Chinese cars that I've had the experience with, namely the latest Xiaomi SU7 update, the emergency door release levers are now bright red compared to beige or black trim matched levers on a pre-facelift model. So far, Tesla said that its fix is to stick a warning label on the release handle of the affected Model 3 and Y and X and S. Oh, that's right, because the last S's and X's didn't have the pull lever in the chrome or aluminum like we have on our ancient models. They had the Model 3 style push buttons. They're also going to push out an over-the-air update that will automatically lower the windows slightly during a wreck to facilitate escape or emergency services, as we talked about previously. These fears aren't unfounded, though. After a series of high-profile deaths and car accidents, one of the biggest involving 3 college students who a Xiaomi SU7 door handle safety has been a real topic of concern in both in and outside of China. The 3 students died when a Xiaomi SU7 sedan hit a barrier on the freeway in 2025. The car lost power and caught fire, with bystanders alleging the retracted door handles made it impossible to rescue the passengers. Break the windows. But now, it's going to be easier to figure out. So, oh wait, they got the comments in the middle, but they weren't done. Many who placed the blame on the SU7's interior electronic door handles and less than obvious mechanical releases, these concerns aren't limited to China either. Here in the US, electronic door handles have faced similar security like Tesla, Corvette, Jaguar, Range Rover, so on. That could be attributed to Tesla's electronic door handles failing to work in an emergency. So far, there's no concrete legislation or ban on the handles in the US like there is in China. However, the NHTSA has openly made it known that it is investigating whether or not we need further rules and standards when it comes to electronic door handles. So I wouldn't be surprised if similar guardrails and standards aren't on their way for cars sold in our market. Agreed. Fancy a bev, mate. I can't wait for my favorite manufacturer to stop using these stupid door handles for, and that's the Kia. EV3 and 5 would get more sales if they changed the form over function handles. I know because after 5 Kias, my next one will be my last if Kia doesn't change this in the next 3 years. Well, if whatever model you want is also sold in China, then they'll have to fix it unless they do the stupid thing and put 2 different handles on, depending on where they're going to sell it. Got a camera there. The Ford Mustang and Mach-E has electronic door releases on the outside, but have mechanical handles on the inside. Yes. This one I've got in here, but I don't think it was really meant for the show because I was thinking I could get to it before the show, but I did not. So here we go. Take a look. We toured LG Energy Solutions battery gigafactory where executives discuss solid-state batteries and sodium-ion technology and more. Yeah, that was for me. Automotive cell qualification requires 12 to 18 months of accelerated aging and thousands of cycles of formation cycles before chemistry clears a single-digit parts per million defect rates. Solid state and sodium ion both work at the bench scale. Holding process windows across millions of cells at production cadence is where the battery programs stall. LG has enough production history to know exactly how long that cycle runs for each new chemistry. The Gigafactory tour shows that the building qualification data is what determines when those cells reach vehicles. All right, so I will open this for me and we'll talk about it later. Then we had copy link to clipboard, paste and go. VW Group's new Scout Motors brand has released a new video about their materials and colors on their upcoming cars. The Scout Traveler SUV range of up to 350 miles with an option for 500 miles with the built-in gas generator. Towing capacity 7,000 pounds, 0 to 60 in as low as 3.5 seconds. Max 800 volt architecture and 350 kilowatt charging and bidirectional charging capability. That part's nice. Optional 35-inch tires, 12 inches ground clearance, 3 feet of water fording capability. Neato. Bench style seat in the front, max 350 kilowatt charging, bidirectional charging, option for 35-inch tires, water fording capabilities. 5.5 foot pickup bed offers 2 120 volt power outlets and one 240 volt power outlet. Scout Motors says that more than 160,000 reservations have been received. 87% are opting for the 500-mile extended range hybrid version instead of the fully electric. Production is expected to begin in 2027 to 2028. I would go with the full electric one. I don't want to carry around all that maintenance requirement. But that's just me. And I am, I'm not afraid of electric since I've been driving it for well over a decade now. Quinn says this won't ship, and if it does ship, it's going to cost a fortune. And then VW will shutter it. John says they're fighting to survive. Gas generator EV, that's what my wife calls me. Gas generator plus 500 miles is the honest answer for family road trips. Range anxiety sells more trucks than 0 to 60 does. Made with AI. This seems stupidly useless since I can charge a week's driving from a home outlet overnight. Don't know what I'm looking at here. I mean, I'm seeing the Honda generator. I'm seeing the... I don't get it. Mainly because it doesn't connect anywhere. Anyway. We've got that sidetrack about the solid-state batteries. Now we've got this one that's not our normal thing, but it talks to me. Personalized pricing is abhorrent, but FCC limits may increase costs, says critics. I can see mechanically how it could increase costs, but I'm not seeing how. Uh-oh. We lost the X spaces. Let's see if I can get it back. It might be gone. Yeah, it's gone. All right, so yeah, Lee says he'd also go full EV Scout at the exterior door releases. I can only imagine what those black seats would be like in the Phoenix. Yeah. I didn't notice the door releases on Cybercab, but I wasn't really looking for them. The cab looks great. I hope the seats are ventilated with all those black seats look toasty the floor to stone. Yeah, I was surprised how good those stickers looked because when I said stickers, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a mess. But they look all right. All right, so there's doom and gloom around this, but and yes, there is a case that you could save money overall doing this, but I don't see any of these greedy corporations that are being prevented from doing this actually doing the right thing for a long time. I see them going for as much money as they can get as fast as they can get, while the people saying that you're blocking us from saving money it is true. There is a way that you can save money with this, but the idea that I walk up to the shelf and then shortly after me, Lee walks up to the shelf and gets a different price, higher or lower, is not. It's rather un-American. It's not the way we do retail. We don't need to start. That's just my feeling on it. So I wanted to bring that up and see it as a discussion because I'm curious how you guys feel with it. Dining with Kacey and Friends for a global audience. There we go. Check the X-Space title. I didn't see it, but I'm sure it was good. It said I was having connection issues, so it shut down the room. Darn it. I wasn't having connection issues. It lied. But I don't want to start it up for just one story to turn it back down. So that was the personalized pricing story. I was glad to see it thwarted personally. I get that there are arguments for it, but I don't buy them on the whole. Just we've seen the way companies work with that stuff here so far. So the last sidetrack that I got here was this one. Geely is testing a solid-state battery with up to 621 miles of range. It could end up in a Volvo. That's good because they own Volvo. Lee says, haven't looked at personalized pricing, so my opinion is off the cuff. It doesn't seem fair at a retail level. Exactly. I get again how it could work. Like, you got a loyalty customer and you give them a better price or whatever, but the way that most of them frame it on the equipment that can do the pricing for you, they're like, hey, maximum profit for your customers, show them the best prices, update all your prices within minutes without having to go from shelf to shelf. So the advertising they're receiving is telling them, gouge your customers. Whether they were going to do that or not, I don't know. Now they are being thwarted, thankfully. So this is Volvo's parent company, Geely. They'll be piloting a new solid-state battery, and they say that that they will test out the battery across portfolio brands starting next year. The ultra-dense battery is slated to deliver over 600 miles of range on a single charge. That sounds cool. Solid-state batteries have seen major breakthrough EV and battery tech. For a few brands, the wait may finally pay off. So that'd be funny that we finally get the Toyota solid-state battery from Volvo from China. Geely is getting ready to validate technology on the road. The Chinese auto conglomerate says that it will begin piloting a program with solid-state batteries across its sprawling portfolio of child brands beginning in 2027, potentially including Volvo, which means we can get it here. Because Geely owns the brand, it means some seriously sophisticated battery tech could find its way into the Swedes' EVs. There you go, Sweden. Geely claimed the battery specs are indeed impressive. They say that it managed to achieve a density of 500 watt hours per kilogram. Good gracious, which is about twice as dense as current golden brick batteries from the cell level. The range is equally impressive. Geely claims that it is targeting a range that would rival diesel-powered cars, which means over 621 miles of range, or 1,000 kilometers, on a single charge. Plus, according to Geely, the battery is engineered to have a lifespan of more than 600,000 miles. Wow. There are other benefits to solid-state batteries as well. Weight savings, less volatile chemistry compounds, meaning potentially safer in a crash, less prone to thermal runaway, plus performance for both charging and discharging. Now, we should probably call out that there's a difference between low-volume pilot deployment across brands and mass production. As Tesla CEO once said, prototypes are easy, scaling is hard. Yep. Geely says that the pilot deployment across portfolio plans is planned for 27, which doesn't necessarily mean that the 621-mile Volvo EX90 will be on your local dealership's menu. It doesn't even mean they're going to sell it at all. It could just literally be a Volvo prototype. But this is still further than we've seen from Toyota. Volvo's EX90 will... Volvo brand itself is well positioned to potentially take on such new tech. It's historically been an ambassador of cutting-edge tech, plus is positioned as a premium brand that can better absorb the cost of new, more expensive tech. That's the other part. This thing could be hell expensive. Volvo is just one of the brands under Geely's vast umbrella, and that includes Polestar, rest in peace in the USA, Lotus, Smart, Zeekr, Link. Oh, Zeekr means that we might see them sitting in the Waymos. Link & Co., Proton, Fairson, and more. Which brands Geely chooses to trial this in still has one of the unknowns, but that's where Geely will deploy this tech. Fair enough. Super High Fly Guy says, that there's no need to quote Musk in the story that has nothing to do with him, really. As if scaling is Musk's problem. Quote should be promises are easy, performance is hard. Another Google scammer there. I think we already reached the point where range anxiety is just being irrational, ignorant, and or having a fear of change. Back in the day, many ICE vehicles had a range of under 300 miles. The issue now is for EVs remains charging time for those who can't charge at home and or want to do longer trips. Yep. Geely's solid-state battery announcement is cool, but we've heard most of this before across the industry. We'll be excited when it's really real. Yes, I agree. Only thing that's actually some sort of exciting about this is that it's exactly as in consumer real. Is that they finally have something to show rather than just talking about how it could be, what it might be, blah, 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 blah. So next year, if they put these things on the road as a trial, that will give us an idea of what might be coming down the pipe. And like you said, we still got a little ways to go to actually see this in a product. So don't hold your breath. Don't put off purchases. Just keep an eye on it. That's all we can say about this solid-state mess. Because how long has Toyota been promising it? 30 years now? 20 years now. Toyota's been promising it. Last month, blah, 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 is a scammer. Batteries engineered to have a lifespan of more than 600,000 miles. That's less than 1,000 cycles, quoted 621 miles of range, which I guess is not really impressive. And this is something right here. I bought a LFP consumer battery. One of the options they offered was a semi-solid state chemistry of the same thing. It had more kilowatt hours, but it had less cycle life. My lithium iron phosphate was quoted at 4,000 charge cycles, but the semi-solid was somewhere between 800 to 1,200 cycles. Excuse me? You want me to pay more and get less? Nah, not on this new stuff. 1,000 cycles is good for solid state. Some people can never be happy. 600,000 mile lifespan. Yeah, but about how many people put 600,000 miles on a vehicle? It's basically 2 to 3 lifespans of the vehicles that most people use. But yeah, only 0.25% of my lifespan. Well, mine is sitting over 100,000 miles, so I'd already be a sixth of the way through the battery pack. So let's get this, get through this. It needs to be low volume. It won't be with a Volvo. Low volume body styles like Cabriolets, sports cars, have been out of Volvo's brand and ethos for a while, running off old battery tech, and production takes time, so something like a Polestar 5 refresh seems unlikely. At the same time, Geely is looking to find more models with a broader audience, and the appetite is real. C-segment stations. I still think the Google bot, the Waymo thing, is already a Geely vehicle. They're not going to complain if it fails. They'll just silently switch it back out. You've got a perfect customer right there in the States. Boom, done. The Google bots. I'd hazard a guess that they would have this tech at scale by 2030 for Volvo V40 and 60, or Polestar equivalent. Geely outright as a brand will simply not sell the numbers they need outside of China, and that market they need to approach. 10 years of daily cycles on your LFP versus 3-ish on semi-solid. I'll take the LFP. That's exactly what I did. And then their inverter was crap and it burnt up. So I still got the batteries. I just need to take the time to follow the disassembly video and then attach them to something, an inverter and charger. And since I don't have the inverter and charger, I haven't been in a rush to do it. My guess is the Polestar 6, if it's the volume, hasn't been introduced yet, so no legacy tech to write off. Faster than needed, good Halo car brand. Super happy to hear your thoughts. Please shoot holes in my thesis. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Donut Guy. All right, so with that, that's the end of our sidetrack. That's the end of our, notebook. And I want to thank everybody from around the world coming to see us today, having a chat with Kacey and Friends, Lee Moon, Highlander, Lee, and Anders, Solo, and we had a bunch of people in today, so I thank you all. I want to thank our channel members for the monetary contribution that helps keep the bills on this thing down. I want to thank, again, each of you guys for coming through and spending time with us today, and we will catch you on the flip side.